Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. In the blink of an eye, I knew her number and her name. Do-do-do, yeah, do-do-do-do-do.
I'd join in, but I got
Oh, she
no
said
idea.
I was the tiger she wanted to tame. Do-do-do-do-do. You'll get it. Do-do-do-do-do. Caribbean queen, now we're sharing the same dream, and our hearts that beat as one. No more love on the run.
God.
Do-do-do-do-do. I lose my cool when she steps in the room. Do-do-do. And I get so excited just from her perfume. Do-do-do-do. Electric eyes that you can't ignore. And passion burns like never before. And then it goes, Caribbean queen, now we're sharing the same dream. And our hearts that beat as one. No more love on the run. I'm fucking done with that bullshit song.
Grand Theft Auto, thank you.
That, but also shout out to Nervous Nathan, who's a massive fan of Billy Ocean.
He's also a massive fan of Daryl Braithwaite.
Yeah. Do you know?
Horses.
Yeah.
Oh, mate,
yeah.
don't even.
Yeah.
You remember the Seinfeld episode with Desperado? You know, where the guy. Don't talk. Nathan's like that with horses.
Yeah.
Serious?
Oh,
mate,
dude.
he went to see Billy Ocean. You know that, don't you?
He went to see Daryl Braithwaite more
Jesus.
than once.
My opinion of him has changed.
No,
somewhat.
he's a massive fan of Billy Ocean. So I figured I'd do that one because, shout out to him, he didn't get back to me for a date to come back on this bullshit podcast.
No.
So
a
I thought
bludger.
he is. So I thought I'd get him back and
He's
get
the
him,
hardest working bludger I know, but he's a bludger.
Yeah, and I thought I'd get him on here and motivate him by singing a song that he wanted to sing on the podcast. But you know what? Don't worry.
Why don't we
Nervous
start
Nate.
singing horses as well?
No, don't worry, Nervous Nate. There's plenty of other bullshit Billy Ocean fucking songs that we can do.
There's way
he had
too
a couple.
many.
He had a couple of hits, so it's all right. There's plenty of other ones that we can do. I'm going to introduce this bullshit, and we'll go forward from there. This is Invert the Y. Captain's log, state 8 log 12.1.5.9, and the USS Invert the Y is orbiting another planet of retrodom and bullshit, and we've got him back. We've got Rocket Russell back. Our favourite little Martian.
Got him. got him back. Isn't he like a regular?
He's a regular
He's
now.
on staff now.
He's on staff. And alongside me, I've got the silent one, and I'll get to this in a minute, Jason Relaxation. The reason why he's the silent one, I was out last night having dinner with a very good friend of ours that's coming on the podcast soon, and he's given me a list of grievances, and I'm telling you now, Rocket Russell, Jason Relaxation's going to be silent the whole episode. That's why I'm calling him the silent
That's
one.
because I like my job.
That's right.
Oh,
remember when we ranted about the Xbox?
Yes.
And he was silent?
Yes.
That's him. And you know what? When he does pipe up, did you ever watch the original Batman series? Like with Adam West? Was Adam West, wasn't it?
Adam West.
Remember when they had King Tut? Yeah. And King Tut... Right, and he was the baddie, and there would be like his little goons hanging around him.
Yep.
And whenever one of them would say, "Oh, but King Tut," he'd go, "Silence!" That'll be Jason Relaxation. Whenever he talks, I'll go, "Silence!" Because you're gonna be fucking shattered. But I'm telling you, you need to fucking prepare. I'm just warning you now.
I don't need to prepare. I just don't need to publish it.
Because I went,
That's it. At the end of the day, it's my decision whether it goes up.
because I went to see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I was telling you,
Yes.
which is a new Tarantino film. I liked it. Very slow starting. Very long
I haven't
movie.
been and seen it yet. I'm
It's good.
keen.
Yeah, I don't think it's his best work though.
Well, as we discussed,
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, Pulp Fiction.
Or as we agreed, possibly one of the really good ones, Death Proof.
I loved it.
I loved Death
Yeah,
Proof.
Death Proof was very underrated because I think I got mixed up in with the what do you call it? The second one that he did, it was the Roundhouse years. Oh, Grindhouse, sorry, Grindhouse.
So Roundhouse is UNSW. That's all.
Yeah, no, it was
all I remember is being very drunk and listening to bands at that place.
No, Grindhouse.
Yes, when he was with Rodriguez.
Yeah. That got wrapped up in that. I think that came out pretty.
Well, he
close
was part
to each
of
other.
that trilogy. Well, he was part of the second part of the trilogy, wasn't he? The El Mariachi trilogy.
Yep.
Desperado, still one of the greatest movies ever. Oh, Desperado's come up again.
That's Eagles.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. The Seinfeld episode.
Come to your
Pickle Bear and the
senses.
horses.
You've been out riding fences for so long now.
So, you know what that reminds me of?
What?
growing up.
Yeah, fuck. Dad was a big Eagles fan.
Big Eagles and the Shadows as well.
Oh, yeah, the Shadows.
See,
He loved
we had
the Shadows.
Fleetwood Mac, Genesis.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got Fleetwood Mac as well.
Not as much.
Not as much. Mum
We
was
got a
more
lot
into-
of the Shadows.
We got the Shadows. We got Fleetwood Mac, the Beatles.
Beatles,
We
lots of
got,
Beatles. Michael Jackson. Oh,
Did you? Who was?
Mum loved Michael
We had a fair bit
Jackson.
of Johnny Farnham.
Because I was the only one. Yeah, you know. Okay,
Whispering
so,
Jack.
You know what? Fuck it. Pause for a second.
Fancy us going off topic.
No, we
All
haven't
right, so
even said the topic yet.
1988 comes out.
Oh.
Comes around, and Johnny Farnham releases Whispering Jack.
Was it his final tour?
Might have been 1987. 1987, he released Whispering Jack.
I'm pretty sure it was 87 because he did the
Yep,
tour 88
but-
because we saw him for like a week in a row every day because he did the final concert for Expo
Yeah.
88 and
Yep.
we had a season
How
pass.
many final concerts is that fuck
So
had?
let me tell you a little story. This is no bullshit.
Yeah.
1988 rolls around and Ford releases the EA Falcon, right? And Dad, as part of his company car package thingy that he had at the time, he got an EA Falcon. He got his in May, and I think they came out in March. But you know what I remember? Being taunted by the cassette deck in that EA Falcon, listening to Whispering Jack by John Farnham. That fucking car
That
got
album.
abused.
Yes,
Got
my
abused.
mum was the same. My mum loved Johnny Farnham before Whispering Jack, but once Whispering Jack hit, it was on repeat.
Mate, it was insane.
And it didn't change for the 20 years
No.
we listened to WSFM.
No. But I'll tell you, we were talking about it coming up here. We'll talk about it. We'll get it out of the way.
We'll get it out of the way.
Get it out of
How
the system.
cars back then, like if you were driving or you saw a car that was a Ford Fairlane or a Ford Fairmont
or a
Gear
Bellina
something,
or a Holden Bellina or a
a
Calais.
Bellina or a Calais, you knew that 9 times out of 10 was a company car, and you knew that person was a certain level in the management ranks.
And they mostly were white.
Majority of them.
Yeah, majority were. They were government cars. They're always white.
But like I was saying to Dan, so because my old man was electrical engineer, he was at a level in a GLI, but wasn't at the Fairmont level. But with the company that he worked for, you're allowed to tick option boxes.
Ooh.
So we had a Falcon GLI wagon
Fully kitted.
that was running an SVO motor, which probably means nothing to you, which was special vehicle options, 5-speed manual, and had a Fairmont gear interior.
So it's
GLI badges-
basically the...
Mate,
the
It was
full
a
get out.
GLI.
I'm telling you now, because Dad was only entitled at that point to a Ford Falcon GL. That was the base model, right?
Yep. It was
Mate-
actually the GLI and the...
Oh, this is EA Falcons originally in '88 didn't have injection.
Oh, no, it was EB that come in
Yeah,
with the GLI.
they were
yes.
like, they
that's
weren't
really
fuel
bad
injected.
that I know that, isn't it?
Yeah, this is sad. They weren't fuel injected.
No,
So
not in the original. That was a 3.9. It
That's
wasn't until
right.
they went to the
and,
4 litre.
And here's some nerdy, real bullshit here. They were only a 3-speed automatic, and later on they'd release a 4-speed automatic.
EB got the...
Right? So when Dad got his EA Falcon, it was only a 3-speed automatic, and it wasn't fuel injection. So it was a GL, not a GLI. Because when they put fuel injection
It was
into
when
it,
they put the eye on it, which
they
was...
put the eye on it. They made a big deal out of it, right? And that was the worst car we ever had. That car was it leaked water. The day he picked it up, within a week or two it rained. And because they used to have the doors that were wraparound over the roof, that was like a really pretty car back in the 80s.
Oh, it was just, they were ahead of themselves.
Way ahead of time.
No more gutters.
No more gutters, but the water would leak into the car. And for some reason, one of the rear seat belts,
I think it leaked into the boot too.
it leaked into the boot,
boot.
but the rear seat belts, and it also leaked through where the sash was,
Yep.
the anchor point was for the seat belt. For some reason, the water would leak through that, and it always leaked on that shit. But the best bit was Dad would go off his brain, right? Because whenever you open the boot up, the water would drip down onto the boot.
Onto your head.
And there was one Christmas we had, it rained.
Pissing down.
And
Yeah.
he opened the boot up and all the presents got wet before he gave it out to whoever needed to have the presents, right? And they'd go, fucking Australians can't make a fucking car, fuck this car, right? It was unbelievable.
Well,
that car was not a good car.
The EA, it was a well-known fact that if you had one that was made on a Monday or a Friday,
That was barbecue days.
it was
Or 6 days.
lemon days.
Yeah, lemon days, yeah.
And they actually had a day they referred to as lemon cars.
And
but I told you, my old man's EA. So I still remember we were discussing it in the car. So we, the night before, Dad had cleared out the previous car. And this was a big move for my family because my dad had always, being a mechanical engineer or electrical engineer, it always had panel vans. So back in the day, we'd move the tools, because tools just took up the entire back of the panel van. We'd move the tools and slide into the back because, early 80s, you could do that. So this was a big move because he was going from a panel van to a wagon. So we're all, cleaned the car out, said goodbye to it in the morning. Goodbye, panel van. Bye-bye. We're going to be able to sit in a seat. The old man comes home that night in a Telstar TX5 Gear.
Do you remember them?
I do.
They were pretty nice. It was cars. They were mid-sized cars.
Well, it was English as well, so it was actually quite a nice car. And I remember standing in the driveway going, "This isn't what we ordered, Dad. We ordered a white wagon with a blue pinstripe and Fairmont gear interior and all that." And he's like, "Long story short." So they delivered it to work this morning, and the guy come in, asked for me, and asked to use my phone. They'd forgotten to put oil in the motor. I'm pretty sure it was a motor or it was in the gearbox, one of the two. But it seized it. So they'd forgotten to put oil in it. So I had to get it towed back on a flatbed back and sent a TX5 over as a loan car.
So Dad's EA Falcon, right, had the same experience. It was leaking transmission oil.
Oh, Jesus.
Right?
Fuck.
And within the first 2 or 3 weeks...
It's a brand new car.
The first two or three weeks, it died on him, and he had to get it towed. And one day he came home with this shitty Ford Blazer, whatever it was.
That would have pissed
That was
him
just
off.
like a spare car that they had. But we had the same experience as kids. Like, Dad would come home and go, "All right, say goodbye to the red car," and he'd unload all of his personal stuff out of the glove box, and then you'd be like, "Oh, I can't wait for Dad to come home. He's coming home in the new car," and then up the driveway, this brand new Ford Falcon, EA Falcon. It was a magic experience, man. It was
back in the day. It was
unbelievable.
Because I think we were the first one in our street with an EA. It was a big breakthrough.
Yeah.
And I still remember the kids coming over the next morning before Dad left for work to have a look at an EA.
But the XF Falcon, which was the one before that, was way better.
It was heaps better. And
way
if
better,
you ask any taxi driver what the best taxi he's ever had was, and if he's an old school,
XF.
he'll say an XF. Because
some of them still have them.
No, they're all gone now, man. They're all gone, man. And you remember the best thing about it was the fuel tank or the fuel cap was actually behind the license plate on the XF. Do you remember that?
Oh, fuck yeah.
So do you remember that?
I remember that.
I remember on the XE.
Dad was like Dad was he liked cars too, and he's like, "Okay, see if your kids can find where the petrol tank is." Like the flap.
I actually remember
we couldn't
that
find
day.
it.
Yeah.
We could not find it, and we go, "Where is it?" And he goes, "Oh, it's behind the license plate," because he didn't know either. And so you pulled the license plate down, and then there was the petrol cap behind it. But you know what? That was a huge safety issue, and Ford had to reverse that because they had issues in the US, not with Falcons, obviously.
No,
but other
Mustang was famous for
and whenever there
years.
was a rear-ended car crash, they'd burst into flames. That's no bullshit, man.
And those never happened on the M4.
No.
I've never seen a rear end
Mate.
on the M4.
Never.
Mate,
Never.
But yeah, he had a lot of company cars, but sometimes I was telling you, he'd bring home his boss's car, and his boss was entitled to a Fairlane, and one day he rocks up in this fucking limousine. I'm not making this up, and it was a Fairlane, and I said to Dad, "What's that?" And he goes, "Oh, it's the boss's car because mine's in for a service, and he let me use his car because he's on holidays or some bullshit." 1985, I had never seen anything like this. I'd never seen anything like this. It was fully electronic, velour interior. Because you made
everything was velour back in those
only
days.
if you've made it though.
Oh, yeah.
If you're an executive, you had velour, right? If you were a pleb, you had vinyl, right? And leather was pretty much unheard of.
Leather was only
Really
in LTDs.
Yeah,
and things
but that
like
was later though, man. That was later years.
Yeah, no,
I'm talking 85 here, and he
it
rocked
was still
up.
crushed velour,
Yep.
wasn't it?
He
That
came
was
up
all
in
the-
a velour, and it was fucking ridiculous. It had every button on it was electronic. It had electronic speedo, and it had an electric aerial. Holy shit!
electric aerials with the bomb diggity.
Holy
Nowadays,
shit!
cars don't even have freaking aerials. It's built into
No.
the windscreen now.
It was and it had electric windows,
See-
power windows, man.
Same thing. My man, I remember coming home in a Mazda 929.
Oh, that was a long time ago, man.
They were, and it was huge. I remember
Yeah.
how big this thing was compared to the Falcons. It was so much wider, but same thing, velour from asshole to breakfast, and just electric everywhere. Yeah, it was
'Cause you remember-
and it had a sunroof. That one had
Oh,
an electric
yeah.
sunroof. I remember that.
But that, mate, the Fairlanes were limousines, man. They were huge.
They were
and because the
boats.
alternative was what, Calais?
No, Statesman.
Statesman, sorry, yeah, Statesman's.
Your Calais was your Fairmont gear.
These are
and then-
Holdens, yeah.
Yeah, and then your Statesman was your Fairlane.
So remember, if you love cars in '88, it was a huge year because Ford bought out the EA and then Holden bought out the VN.
VN.
Remember that?
I had a girlfriend back then who had a VN. So she had a Calais VN with a 5 litre. So it was white over grey.
Yep.
I remember driving that thing, and I remember booting it one time and thinking, fuck, the front end's going the different way to what I want to go. So it felt, when you booted that car, it felt like it twisted. And even with the V6, it felt like the whole car was twisting. It was,
because that was a big deal.
thing.
Remember when like Holden said this was their fight back car because they were struggling with a previous Commodore.
Well, the VL had the Nissan motor, which was, you know, was against the traditionalists.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't
So Holden said, we're going to fight back and we're going to completely change the Commodore. We're going to make it bigger and all that sort of stuff. And we're putting in a V6 and everyone went, holy shit, a V6? Are you serious?
A Buick.
Yeah, unbelievable.
For an Aussie car at the time. It was,
and that looked space age, dude. When it first came out, I remember seeing it in a shopping centre, right, of all places, like a Westfield. They had one on display, and I'm like, holy shit, this is the future, man.
I actually remember going to a car show when the EA was first released. It was released, and then a couple months later was the Brisbane car show. And I remember, it was, you know, this EA. Look at the curves on it, would you? Because, you know, the XF, the XD,
they looked,
the VK,
they were
and
they were
very
boxy.
angular, you know, very. And these things, yeah,
but you know what? The EA had a lot more curves on it for the day than a VN did.
Oh, heaps more.
Yeah, but the Commodore was like, wow, this is totally different, man. And remember, like, you pick up Wheels magazines and there'd be like the rivalry. It'd be like Ford versus Holden. And this is what I mean. Now there's none of that shit. Now there's none of it. Now
there's none of the excitement of you know, a new car release.
No.
The car manufacturers release cars so regularly.
The
now
rivalry, it was intense.
It
the
was.
battle between Ford and Holden.
Well,
at least
the
here.
motor show died years ago too.
Oh,
yeah.
well, there's
when
like
did
Melbourne
that die?
Oh, it died years ago.
Years
Melbourne's
ago.
the only one that does one now.
Yeah.
Do they? They still do one.
They still do one.
Because that was the thing too. October used to be the motor show here in Sydney.
Yeah.
That was. I used to love going to the motor
You go see
show.
the Ferraris and all that,
Mate,
stuff.
but you know what? You knew you could never get a Ferrari, but you know what you used to do at the motor show? You'd look at the Falcon because that was Dad's next company car.
like a good little bogan boy.
Yeah, like a bogan. You'd be rocking up.
But I still remember I was with a couple of mates. So the EB V8 had just been released, and my mate had an XD V8. I remember going to the showroom. It was about 9 o'clock at night, and they had it up on the turntable in the showroom, and standing there having a good giggle. How, you know, we were standing there looking at the latest V8 in the last V8. You know, I was like, oh, and we were like, imagine what, you know, that in 10 years' time, somebody's going to be driving down to the car yard in that Falcon there that's parked there, and looking at the new model, thinking, oh, look at my old beast, you know.
Yeah,
but that doesn't happen anymore. There's just
There was
car
one time-
manufacturers just release, like BMW.
Yep.
Back in the day, you had the 3 Series, which was your entry level.
Yep.
That was the baby models. Yeah,
Baby models.
Yep.
You had your 5 Series, which was the executive levels.
Yep.
And then you had your 7 Series.
That were the big ones.
That were the big ones.
Yeah.
That was your CEOs, your chauffeur-driven things. Now BMW has a 1 Series, a 2 Series, a 3 Series, a 4 Series, a 5 Series, a 6 Series, a 7 Series, and an 8 Series. It's just...
But not only that, though.
And then
Rocket
there's the
Russell,
X. Then they've got all their fucking SUVs.
But not only that, there's so many different manufacturers now. Whereas back in those
back
days,
in
in the
those-
80s, there wasn't as many.
Ford, Holden, Mitsubishi.
At least here in Australia, right?
Yeah.
But now, off the top of my head, there's still Fords, there's still Holdens, although whatever they are. There's Renault, there's BMW, there's Volkswagen,
Mercedes.
there's Mercedes,
Mitsubishi.
Toyotas, there's Subarus, there's Hondas. Did we say Mitsubishi?
We said Mitsubishi.
There's so many of them, and we're missing some.
And then you get into
Skoda.
And then there's
Well, they're V-dubs, really.
and then you've got all the new Chinese stuff like the Cherries and the LDVs,
The Great Walls.
the Great Walls,
Yep.
and
Oh, mate, it's insane. But
saturated nowadays.
But in those days, there were less. If you saw a BMW back in those days, that was like unbelievable.
Now it's like, who gives a fuck?
so we discussed on the way up. I used to work for a prestige car yard in WA, so that it was all used prestige. It was all the worst car I drove when I was there was a Fairlane Gear, which is
Oh, they were the shit.
they were the
man.
shit. But that was the worst car I drove there. I think the best car I drove, I would love to say the Lamborghini Countach, but that was a fucking nightmare to drive. It would have been one of the Ferraris. And I completely forgot where I was going.
You worked at a car yard.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. So the owner of the car yard, who was quite a big celebrity in WA, comes wandering out with his best mate. His best mate's buying a car for his daughter. And he's beeline straight over for a 318 IS. So that was the sporty little one. He goes, oh, I like this one, mate. And he goes, no, I not fucking sell you that. He says, you friend of mine, you not fucking buy that.
He's stealing the knife. Back
like,
in Prague. He's back.
He's like, that fucking car, that European fucking taxi. No. My goddaughter not drive that. You come up, we look at 5 Series. It was like fucking, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
It was,
Mate, you know, it's a different lens. Like the nephew upstairs, he's nearly 11. He loves cars. And his knowledge of cars is better than mine. It's insane.
He could be on the podcast.
He could be on the. He'd love to be on here talking about cars. But I kind of feel sorry for him because he's never going to see the rivalry that we had in the local Australian.
Let's
car
be honest.
market.
By the time he's driving, there's a chance he won't be driving.
he won't be driving. That's the big thing.
I don't think that's going to happen.
That was one of my favorite. So one of my favorite customers.
Definitely be electric.
I don't think so.
Self-driven.
You're only talking about how old is he? 11. He's going to drive in another 6 years.
7.
17 they drive, so that's 6 years, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Well,
So I'd really be surprised if you're going to see more electric cars in 6 years' time. You know,
Look, I think electric. We were discussion upstairs. I'll refer it back to that. I think the electric car. Look, it's great. It's a piece of shit. I hate them. I hate these hippies who drive them thinking they're doing good shit for the environment.
they forget-
Go fucking watch a YouTube video on how they make the fucking battery, avocado eating cocks.
I was just about to say, man. People forget that more
Thanks for letting
energy,
me editing.
More energy.
Did you see how I changed the word from to cock?
Yep.
I was being good.
But more energy is used in making that battery.
There was this
than there
article
is in the
yesterday.
lifetime.
they need to figure that shit out. They need to figure out a
Well,
different way to
no,
do it.
what they need to do is we need to. Okay, so BMW and Audi are actually in Europe, and their big thing is, and you'll see Audi and they've got a few electric cars, but it's not anywhere near as big as Toyota or any of those companies. Hydrogen.
Yep.
BMW is on its 3rd generation hydrogen motor. It is actually
In
the
the
majority of
States-
petrol stations have hydrogen.
But in the States, that's the case. There's a lot of hydrogen petrol stations in the States.
Is there?
Yeah, in California areas, yeah, there is.
No, because they're all fucking avocado
They're
smashed
smashed avocado
eating,
eating.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I'm saving him too.
Yeah, I'm being nice.
Yeah, I'm trying to be nice to him.
Because he looks a bit tired over there, the
Well,
silent one.
he's Jason Relaxation, the silent one. So he's not gonna say shit.
I'm like young Jamie off the
Silence! No, you know what? But that rivalry in the 80s between
was
Ford and
massive.
Holden locally here, was insane.
Oh, that's what Bathurst was all about.
Oh, mate, it was insane. But in the 88, that's when it was at the highest because Ford and Holden were bringing out completely new shells, completely new cars.
I think it was more 89 because I think the rivalry was there for family cars, but I think the rivalry really kicked off in 89 when Ford come back into the 5-litre or into the V8 era.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
Because they dropped the V8 at the end of the XE, which was what, 84 or 86? No, it was 84. They dropped the XE and went to the XF, which ran through to 88.
Yeah, because again, Dad had an XF, and that was a 1985 model, and it was one of the first years of the XF.
Yeah.
And the XE was before that. That had the square headlights, didn't it? Very square
headlights,
square bonnet.
And this is my nerdism. So the difference between the XD and the XE was easily told by the indicator. So the indicator on the side of the car on the XE was rounded, so it was still triangular shape but had a round edge on it, and the XD had a point and the tail light. So the XD had 3 ripples. The XF had 4 ripples on the tail light. It was.
But you know what? I was just thinking now, like, I guess even the 90s still had that rivalry too, because when Ford brought out the AU, which was a really anticipated car, but it was a disaster, and then Holden brought out the
Duckling. When it first came out, it was ugly as. But at the moment, there's actually a petition out there. I was reading about it yesterday because I had an AU. There's a petition for Ford to remake the AU.
Why?
Why would they?
It was actually one of the most aerodynamic cars ever created in Australia. It just
really didn't look like
I was
it.
going to say it wouldn't be hard. we're not exactly known for
So
our
if you look at a
precision.
Series 1 AU in the XR series, you'll see that some of them, they had a twin wing. It was the ugliest thing. It was like a half loop and then it had another half loop on top of it.
Yeah.
It was the only spoiler in Australia that actually created downforce on a car. Majority of spoilers on cars
It's aesthetic.
is
Well, you
aesthetic.
know, again, the old man, because he had company cars pretty much his whole working life, he had a AU Ford Falcon station wagon.
Yep.
And we beat the shit out of this thing. Mate, it did about 250,000 kilometres, and the only thing that was wrong with it, during its life was the handbrake kept getting longer and longer and looser. So at one point, there was like a fault with that car. And he used to say to me when I was driving it, just be careful of the handbrake, it's really loose. And you go, okay. Then you go to park it. Holy fuck, the handbrake could go right up to the roof.
Yeah, all the cables stretched.
Yeah,
it was horrible.
Yeah, it was horrible. But they reckon the... was it the VE that was the alternative? What was it was the VE, wasn't it? No. The
Oh no, they went to the VX, wasn't there?
No, what was the really pretty in the mid late 90s came out.
Yeah, before the VEs.
Before the VEs. There's a lot of people yelling at us out now.
Yes.
Yep, they're all bogans.
They're all bogans.
Because how many bogans does this podcast actually get?
Probably more than you think.
We get quite a few bogans. Shout out to all the bogans out there in their HSV jackets. We love you.
So it was the VK, the VL, then you went to the VN, the VP, and then that's when they introduced, there was the VP2, and then there was the next one. What was it?
Because, okay, so the VF was the last one they did.
Was it the VY?
No, the VY was after this one I'm thinking of. The VY was the squarer one, but that's the model after I'm thinking. It was very, very popular. Because I had one. I actually had one in 1998. I had a Bellina. Yeah, I can't remember. I've got a mental blank. I had a 1998 Bellina. The silver. Remember the silver one I had? It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was a gorgeous car. Never let me down. Beautiful.
I'm Googling.
I bought it. It was a 3-year-old ex-company car. I bought it. Awesome car. VT, of course. We're idiots.
Yeah, that's a wow.
We've had a derp moment.
Yes. How did we forget
the VTs were beautiful.
That was a really nice car.
They look pretty. And the AU was a disaster.
Well, they were more around the... Oh, no, that was BA come out after that, wasn't it?
Yeah,
so
the BA fixed all the bullshit, right? But you know what? Ford employees were later saying, I read this in an article, Ford employees were disappointed by that because the AU they thought was more ambitious and what they wanted to do, and the BA was a step backwards in their opinion because they made it a lot more conservative looking. And
they went from an IRS rear end,
independent rear suspension,
back to a fixed diff. You know,
did they? I didn't know that.
The original BA.
But you know what, the BA or the Barra, they called it the Barra. That was a code
because that was the motor that was in it.
But the interior looked awesome back in the day because it was one of the first. Like it had
console all integrated.
Yeah, integrated and a digital panel on it.
How do you think stereo companies, like, I used to work for a car stereo shop when I was younger.
Strathfield Car Radios?
No,
they were fucking massive in the 90s.
I remember you getting the
Gemini, because the Gemini had an AM only radio. It didn't even have FM, right? Didn't even have a cassette player.
It didn't have the power to run one, did it?
Oh, no, I took it to Strathfield Car Radios.
They fixed that up.
Right, and I said to them, look, can you help me with this shit? And they said, yeah, okay, we can put in a really cheap set of speakers in it and a really cheap radio. I think they had a special for like, I think it was like $150 or so, less than $200. They put in a whole system for me, right? But I remember driving off, and as I drove off, the motor made an interference with the actual audio.
So you can put the suppressor in.
Yes, yeah. And I took it back, and I go, listen. Every time I accelerate, I hear this tick 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 tick, and this bzzz noise, and they say, "Oh, we've got to put a suppressor in it, but we don't know if we've got one long enough to reach the aerial because we've got to earth it." Some bullshit. I don't know what the fuck. And I just said, all I want is an FM radio and a fucking cassette player, right, to listen to my 90s grunge music. You know what I mean? But you know what? That FM radio they put in it was shit, man.
Oh, FM radios back then worked.
Yeah, it didn't work very well, and it had The stations tended to wander on it, so you had to tune it pretty much all the time you got in the car. That was a disaster.
Well, see,
but I thought it was
kids
cool. Kids
nowadays wouldn't even know that it was an old dial. It was an
so
orange thing.
You literally had to do the dial.
You literally had to do that.
And if you were really lucky, you had push buttons underneath that would make it jump to the right space.
I always found they were pre-programmed for stations that no longer existed when I'd got the car.
But you know what? My little Golf, it shows a digital version of an analog dial on its panel. Yeah, to be cool. Yeah. But look, you forget how, like you said, cars back then didn't even have fucking radios in them, proper radios. Like, as I said, the Gemini didn't even have FM. It had an only AM radio, right?
Yeah.
And so I went to Strathfield Car Radios to put in a fucking stereo system in it to pretend I was cool. But then, remember in the 90s, everyone went crazy with it. They put fucking subwoofers in it, and massive doof, doof, doof.
Well, I worked for a car stereo mob part-time during the early 90s when that was... Oh, man.
That was the shiz. Yeah.
That was, people were spending the amount of money people spent.
Oh, it was out of control, man. Everyone was spending so much money on car stereos. People were spending more on car stereos than what the car was fucking worth.
We had a. I don't want to seem racist, but we had an Asian
curry burner.
No, he was Asian.
Well, they used to call those cars rice cookers.
Rice cookers.
Yeah, he ran a rice cooker. So he had a 200 SX.
That's a rice cooker car.
Yeah, it's a rice cooker.
So he had a 200 SX, right? Beautiful. Spent an absolute fortune on it. Did the motor up, put a spoiler kit on it, and all that. It looked the bomb.
Yep.
He was running quarter miles in it. He was doing drag racing in it, and he decided he wanted a stereo.
As you do.
So he's walked in, and I still remember Jason, the head salesman there. He was a legend. This guy could sell ice to Eskimos, and they'd beg him for it. He was that good. And he's standing there with this guy, and the guy's humming and hurrying. He goes, "So you want to win a trophy, mate?" And he's like, "Yes, I want to win a trophy." He goes, "Well, why the fuck are we arguing?" He says, "If you spend $21,000, and I mean, this is 92,
That's a lot of money, man.
That was a massive amount of money." He goes, "You spend $21,000, he says, I'll guarantee you will come second." He says, "But if you bring in this new Alpine such and such, we're going to spend $27,000. I guarantee you are going to win the competition. You will."
What was the competition again? Sorry, the best sounding
They used to have
audio.
sound-offs.
Sound-offs. That's right, they did too, yeah.
And they used to
I
get
think they still do.
They used to get decibel meters.
Yeah.
It was big time in WA. It was massive. And I remember this Asian guy like, "Oh, I don't want to spend. You do me deal. I'm spending $21,000." And he's like, "I can't do anything for you, mate. This is the latest Alpine technology. I just can't do anything for you." And the Asian's like, "Oh, give me 2 seconds. He walks out, and he's got a mobile phone. So, he's making calls, and he comes back and he goes, "What you promised me if we spend $35,000?" So we built this car stereo for this guy. Custom made, all custom door panels. It was, beautiful. Guy runs it down the drag strip the next week.
Blows it up.
No, drives in. So he's got the car we installed the stereo in. He's got another 200 SX that he's gone out and bought because he dropped 1.5 seconds on the quarter mile because of the weight of the stereo
of
stuff.
course.
Yeah.
So he wanted that all taken out of that
Yeah.
car and put into this other 200 SX that he was getting done up to look like his race car, so he had a daily driver.
Mate, we used to have
Fucking hell.
Mate, we used to have this guy at uni. He bought a Civic, a 94 Civic. They were nice cars. And
The new ones are ugliest.
yeah, they're ugly. But back then, the 94 era Civics were really pretty cars, right?
Yep.
And he got it secondhand and had very low Ks on it, and it was immaculate. And the stereo wasn't good enough for him, and so he went. First, he started off with the deck. Then he got speakers. Then that wasn't enough. Then he was getting a subwoofer. Then he had to get an amplifier. Before you knew it, you know the back of those Civics, the hatches? That fucking whole thing was taken up with a subwoofer and an amplifier in it.
Dude,
and I go, where do you
put your
golf clubs?
If you
You know?
walked out of the shop I worked for, because it was a top-end shop, if you walked out of there with boot space, you hadn't spent enough money.
Yeah.
But we used to get them, so I had a VL Calais Turbo.
Oh.
So 87, beautiful. Loved this car.
That wasn't the Walkinshaw, though, was
No,
it?
it wasn't the Walkinshaw. It was
Same shape, though.
Same shape, didn't have all the big spoilers
Yeah,
on it. I would have
okay.
loved the Walkinshaw, but at the time they were kind of really expensive, and
They're collectors now.
still
I'm sure they are, yeah.
They're massive collectors. This thing, if it was still around, is a collector's item. So I worked for a car stereo mob. So we used to get everything at cost price, and any of the installation stuff was free. So we all had funky stereos. So back in the day, you could cut metal out of a car.
I remember people doing this.
So you could cut metal to bigger speakers. So MB Quartz was a big company at the time, and they came out with what was called it was a 3-way component speaker. So you had an 8-inch subwoofer, a 6-inch mid, and a tweeter. These were the top of the line speakers at the time. I was like, well, I want them, but I want them in my rear parcel shelf.
Yep.
So I want, that. That'll look awesome. And the head installer's like, oh yeah, we'll do the door panels with them, and we'll do them in the back. We'll put MB Quartz stickers on the car. Yep, we'll do this as a show. So this was done as a show car. We cut the rear parcel shelf out. We refiberglassed it, strengthened it, put boards in there, because you were allowed to do that at the time. Of course, those laws changed, didn't they?
Of course.
It was about 6 months after we'd done the install on the stereo.
Uh-oh.
So I'm driving home one night. used to drive home the same way every night. I used to actually take a mate home literally every night. It was his anniversary, so he went out with his missus for dinner. I'm driving home, pulling up to a set of lights turn green. I've accelerated away. Next thing I know, I'm spinning down the road. Drunk driver had come through the red, collected me.
Shit.
Because there was no rear parcel shelf in the car just
Crumpled. Yeah.
Of course, the insurance company, what's their first thing? Oh, well,
You're not insured, mate.
well, your insurance is null and voided because
Yeah.
you've got no rear part. You've cut metal out of the car, and no matter how you argued that, look, here's the receipts. It was done a year ago. You know, the laws changed 6 months ago. They don't care. Retrospective.
So correct me if I'm wrong too. The other thing that changed was people started putting LED lights underneath their car, like blue, like colour lights under their car, and they were glowing at night.
Yep.
And I remember going to like places like Parramatta, and it'd be on Church Street. They're having something to eat. There'd be somebody coming up on a car, and it'd be, doof, 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 and then you'd be like, and underneath the car was like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty certain that the law changed. And
No,
they
you
said,
can still do
can
it.
You still do it. I
you
don't
can
think
still
you
do
could.
it. You're not allowed.
Because it wasn't a distraction to other drivers. That was their bullshit.
You're only
on it.
allowed certain colours, I think.
Yeah, you're only allowed. You're not allowed red. You're not
Right,
allowed anything
okay.
red on the front of your car, which I found out.
No, this wasn't on the front. This was underneath the car.
But even under, if you could see red
right
on the front of the car, it was illegal. And the only reason I found out this was because at one stage there I had a Starion Turbo. Do you remember them? Mitsubishi
No.
Starion.
Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah, Starions.
I had one of those. And
They were a two-door?
two-door, ugly as sin.
Yeah, because they were like in my little head, I didn't know much about cars back then. I always thought they were like the sporty Sigmas.
They were. That's basically
Was that
all
what
it
they were?
was.
Yeah,
it was a
okay.
sporty Sigma. And I installed a Knight Rider light on the front of it.
Oh, sick.
It looked awesome. It just didn't have the sound effects, but it was this LED, went backwards and forwards. Coming up on a cop at a set of traffic lights, not thinking anything. I've got my Knight Rider light going off. Yeah, I got a ticket and a roadworthy certificate, a canary as they call them, to take the car back and take that off and get it re-inspected over the pits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just drove the car to the wreckers because there was no point taking that car to the pits. It wasn't passing, even if I took the light off.
Because there was that, and then the other thing people were doing back in the 90s, more so than they do now, but they still do it now.
Spinners. Are you talking about spinners?
There was that, spinners, but what I was thinking was spoilers. Massive fuck off spoilers, man. Like on the back of like cars that didn't need to have spoilers. Like Civics were a classic. They put spoilers on Civics. They put spoilers
Anything
on
that's a rice burner, mate.
anything, man. Like I put a spoiler on a Commodore because the Berliner I had, the silver VT, that didn't have a spoiler on it, and I thought it'd look sick with a spoiler on it, and I did. I put a spoiler on it, and it did. It looked sick.
Made no difference to the down.
No, but it looked fucking sick. But the only downside was the boot would just shut really like.
Yeah, because there was
crazy.
there was gaps and
Yeah, it wasn't designed for like that bullshit. But
no, it was like a wall control. If you looked at a wall control that come off the factory line, that was the same thing. It was just fiberglass panels that were bolted on.
I'm going to be very
And
controversial.
they weren't fucking nice. They weren't well done.
I'm going to be very controversial here.
Oh,
I'm going to get hated, and I'm sorry, my friends that are bogans and have got HSV jackets and love all this
Chevy
stuff.
badges on your fucking Commodore.
That's stupid.
Fuck, that shits me.
I could never. You know what? Okay, going to that, you got what you fucking asked for, you pricks, because all your Holden Commodores are fucked now, and now you're stuck with. You really did get what you wanted. You got Chevys now. You idiots. Why would you fucking do that?
This is
On
an
an
argument I had.
Aussie-built car.
This is an argument I had with a mate of mine who's a Holden
Fucking
man and had
idiots.
the Chevy badge, and I asked, "Why do you have a Chevy badge?" He goes, "It's got a Chevy motor."
Yeah,
And I
so
went,
what?
But the car is a Holden.
Yeah.
But it's got a Chevy motor. I went, well, okay, so imagine I am the branding manager of GM Global. I come to Australia, I fly into Sydney,
Yep.
and I see every third Commodore
Yep.
has a Chevy badge. Do I see any value
No,
in
the
the Holden
brand.
brand?
Do you remember you and I used to talk about this?
Yeah.
At work, we go, you know what? If I was GM globally and I was the president or VP area manager.
they would have done
You know
that.
what? And they would have done it. You know what? They've moved to a global platform. They've said we're going to sell one chassis for every corner of our market.
Yep.
And you guys can customize it to make it more favourable to the
Your
market.
environment, yeah.
But your Commodore is gone because it's costing us money. Because remember when Holden spent $1 billion on the VT or something like this?
It was, yeah.
It was something roughly about that. Oh, sorry, it was the VE. The VE, they spent $1 billion on it.
Yep.
$1 billion, they spent $1 billion on it. And then they spent $1 billion on the Chevy. $1 billion, 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 $1 billi Why the fuck would I let you spend $1 billion on a market that's really small and shrinking and doesn't want your car anyway, when I can give you the chassis already built on the cheap and you guys design it to your local flavour, but it's one car for everybody, right? And you know what? Then you see all these idiots get their VTs and their VEs and all that stuff, and they rip the badges off it and they put Chevy badges on it. That guy's gone, well, that's what you want.
That's it. But the part that gets me is when you see people in Captivas.
And they do that too. I've seen that as well.
I've seen
a Captiva.
You fucking Captiva. It's not even a Chevy. It's an Opal.
Which, mind you, Captiva, we looked at those many years ago.
What an
absolute smoking pile of shit.
Yeah, he didn't like him. He went.
But see, I mean, I think the best part is, so if we're talking about the current car, so the current Commodore,
I hate it.
Which is an Opal, or no, it's Vauxhall, isn't it? Sorry.
It's a Vauxhall.
It's a Vauxhall. Yeah. Don't like it, man.
So General Motors worldwide has just sold Vauxhall to Peugeot.
Mm-hmm. Oh, have they? I didn't know this.
So that car is actually being built by Peugeot for GM. GM owns the chassis, the platform.
Yep.
But they can't do anything with it now because, well, they don't actually own the company that builds it.
So the next chassis would be from who? From where?
Well, they're talking about there's a Cadillac in Australia at the moment that's doing testing that they think they'll rebadge the Commodore as.
That's the next model.
That's
because it used to blow my mind how you'd read in Wheels magazine that GM would have plans as far as 2030. They'd say, we're going to release this chassis in 2022. We're going to release this chassis in 2027.
All good companies are doing that.
Yeah, but that blew my mind. I go, what do you mean you got a model car that far out in advance? That's insane.
Well,
but they obviously have to, you know. Like,
so on a side note, so my father worked for one of Australia's big bakeries who happened to have the contract for a certain big manufacturer of hamburgers in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
So he got flown to America to have a look at the research facilities for said burger company. Freaking me out.
No, I'm just getting prepared because you've prompted me. We have to do our advertisement this morning.
Oh, that's right. Yes, yeah. The non-advertisement. I'd love that. Sorry, just going to throw that in.
I've got one that you're going to really like.
He got flown to America by the big burger company and was showing. So every 2 floors of this research facility was dedicated to a year. So they were 10 years in advance of cooking their fries, and they had kitchens designed and flows and all that done for the next 10 years.
I think you'll find nearly every tech company would be fairly similar as well.
I have to stop you there, Rocket Russell.
Oh, sorry.
We will continue our story about cars and other type of cars on certain tracks.
Ones that go
very,
they
very
used to
fast.
go.
That's right, folks. Don't be disappointed. Rocket Russell and I will discuss Formula One, you ingrates. But before that, I'm sorry, I'm getting prepared to sell out.
Yeah, we need to practice.
And I like it. I've actually. I was texting you the other night about it.
This one's going to rock your world.
Oh, I'm glad.
This one's going to rock your world.
Am I going to jump on board?
I think this might be the biggest tangent on this show we've ever had. I actually think we're going to tangent.
That's a big
All right,
call.
so for those that listen to the show, that's a big call.
I think
that is a massive call.
we're going to tangent in a big way.
I just managed to tangent from cars to hamburgers.
I'm going to give us the Pepsi challenge.
Oh,
this is the biggest tangent we're ever going to have.
Let's go.
Ready?
Roll it, monkeys.
Oi!
Well, no, this is an advertisement.
Yeah, they roll it too.
Roll it, monkeys. So this one. So as part of our advertisement, I just want to say that we're not sponsored by this particular product, but I wish we were, and we may well be in the future. But you know what? Rocket Russell, I don't know about you. I don't have children, but you do. And you must struggle wondering what you can get them for Christmas and birthdays.
It's a perpetual problem.
But I've got a great product that you might be interested in to give to your kids for birthdays or
Dan,
Christmas.
do tell me, I'm always keen
They
to hear.
haven't sponsored this podcast today, but I kind of wish they fucking did. And you know what this product is?
Look, since you've said kids, I'm going to guess it's not fleshlights.
Is it log?
It's log. That's right.
What is log?
Log is a product that every kid would love to use, whether you want to snuggle up against it that night or if you want to have some fun with it. Log is the perfect gift for you. That's right, log. This This podcast isn't sponsored by Log, but it should be. And the other thing about Log is that it's got its own little jingle when you play with it. That's right. It goes like this. What rolls downstairs and low in pairs and rolls over your neighbour's dog. What's great for a snack and fits on your back. It's Log, Log, Log. It's Log, Log. It's big, it's heavy, it's wood. It's Log, Log. It's better than bad, it's good. Everybody wants a log. You're gonna get love a log. Come on and get your log. Everybody needs a log. Wants a log, love a log. That's right, log.
That sounds like the present that keeps on giving, Dan.
It is. It's one of the best presents you could get your kids this coming Christmas.
It sounds like there's going to be August. Outside and exercise, which is what I'm keen for my children.
So speaking of tangents, fuck, I love Ren and Stimpy.
That's why I did it. It's a tangent of a tangent. You know what? I remember talking to Rocket Russell at work about Ren and Stimpy.
I loved Ren and Stimpy.
What a fucking show Ren and Stimpy was.
It was my second favourite at the time because I'm still Cat Dog.
Oh, okay.
Cat Dog was great.
But Ren and Stimpy was awesome.
Ren and Stimpy was fucking brilliant.
Look at him lying there asleep.
President, the dirt, it won't come off. Dirt won't wash off. Stimpy, you idiot, you idiot.
Stimpy.
What a show. But you know what? They only did 2 seasons.
No, they've done more subsequently.
Yeah, but without the writer. Without the original creator.
But I'll go back to a podcast that aired earlier on in the week about the Red Dwarf.
Yep.
That was the same. Great series, came back and just hasn't hit those strides again, has it?
According to Cyberdunk, shout out to Cyberdunk, he listens to this bullshit. Thank you very much for coming on the show a week or 2 ago. Maybe fucking a year ago. Who knows when we'll upload this bullshit. It depends on Jason Relaxation, the silent one, whether he uploads this shit in time to make any kind of fucking coherent sense with it. But yes, he says the latest series now is actually not bad of Red Dwarf. I don't know. I've not seen it.
It's still not back.
The problem with Ren and Stimpy was the original creator. His name was Caliphan.
Oh, he was a massive fuck up. Whoever. He
had a weird name.
Yeah, it matches his personality.
Yeah.
He only was allowed to write 2 seasons.
There's a reason for that.
And he had a falling out with what's the major kids cartoon network? Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then after that, they are written. And actually, he also voiced Stimpy, by the way. Did you know that?
Oh, Ren.
He voiced Stimpy.
He was the gayest cat ever.
Yeah. Oh, Ren.
Let's go
But see,
that's right.
Look at the cartoons back then. Ren and Stimpy, Cat Dog, Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I like Pinky and the Brain as well.
Pinky and the Brain.
Well, there's Pinky up there. I've got a Pinky doll right there.
It was my ringtone for ages.
Same second shelf. In the back, the fucking white mouse in the back.
We're Pinky and the Brain.
See, he's there. Pinky, right there. For fuck's sake, right in front of you, near the Coke can, behind the Coke can.
If I didn't have this big...
Oh, yep, got him. See him. Are you pondering what I'm pondering?
What are we going to do tonight, Brain?
To try and take over the world.
No, you got it wrong. Same thing we do every night, Pinky.
To try and take
over the world.
Yeah, no, but I love Ren and Stimpy, man. What a fucking show.
They were all...
Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Well, I don't know. How are we going to get the elephant into the tutu?
The first season was the best.
Yes.
And the best one was it Space Crate? There was a space one.
Where they go insane.
Yeah, they go insane because they've been on a spaceship for like months. And fucking Ren loses his mind, man. He wants to kill Stimpy. And he finds out ways he can kill Stimpy. It's fucking insane, man. I don't think that show would be allowed to be made today.
You know what? You can't find it either. Like, I've been trying... You can get snippets on YouTube.
No, you can, man.
Where?
JB Hi-Fi, no bullshit.
No, but I'm talking about, like, streaming media.
Oh, no. You can on YouTube a little bit.
That's what I mean.
But it's all over the place. But you know why? It's because we don't have... the Nickelodeon channel isn't here, so we don't get it.
Not only that, I don't think they'd be streaming that original series because it's
we found during the week, the difference between Australian Foxtel and American Foxtel is fucking ludicrous.
We'll talk about that in another podcast.
You know why? Murdoch's a fuck.
You know what my favourite was this week? They updated Foxtel. Now I'm going to fucking rant. Let me rant.
Do I need to turn the volume down?
Indulge me,
right? If we must.
You might have to turn the volume down a little bit.
He's going to clip.
I did promise that I would rant about this. So they updated Foxtel, the IQ4 at least, to have the inclusion of Netflix. But the way they've done the interface, whoever fucking signed on that must be a smashed avocado eating prick. I saved him. I saved
Well
him.
done.
Right? I'm on a self-improvement program, right? But they've put all these tiles on the home screen, and you can't find it. It looks worse than the Xbox One dashboard. It's a fucking mess, right? But the best bit is that you can't actually execute Netflix on its own, as far as I can see. You can click on the tile that, like, say it's got Stranger Things on the tile of the dashboard on Foxtel. If you click on that, it opens up Netflix, but then it starts streaming Stranger Things. The only way to open up Netflix, as far as I can see, from the raw vanilla Netflix menu, is by pressing the button on the remote that you don't get.
Yeah, you got to pay. Did I hear that right? That
You got to pay
extra for
unless. Well, I'll tell you now. So this is what happened. Let me fucking tell you the story. I rang up Foxtel and I said to them, "I want this remote because this is bullshit. The way you've done it." I had a whinge. I said, "The way you've designed that fucking dashboard's a disgrace. Because if you want me to use Netflix, which is a downgrade actually from running it natively on my TV as the app, right? So I can watch it in Dolby Vision or HDR, which Netflix, the IQ4 doesn't yet support, as far as I'm aware."
Isn't that a big thing with the IQ4? It's 4K and all that.
It is, but it doesn't do HDR yet, right? And so it does support it, but I can't. It's currently doesn't have content, right? So here's the thing: if I want to open up Netflix, I have to open up another fucking TV show, and then Netflix opens up. Then I've got to back out of it and then go through the Netflix window.
So do you have to have your own subscription for Netflix?
Yes.
Or is that
Yes. Yes.
So
they're not doing you shit. They're not doing anything for you, man.
They've just given you a
portal.
A portal.
That's
to
what they've
Netflix.
done. Yeah. But here's the best bit: to get into that portal, you select the shows that they pop on their dashboard, but they give you a remote that has a Netflix dedicated button on it. You hit the next Netflix dedicated button on it, and it opens up Netflix, right? But because I had got the IQ4 when it first came out back in October last year, I've got the standard
Early
remote.
adopter over here.
Right? I got the standard remote. So I rang up the Foxtel people, the good people at Foxtel, who I'll never fucking sponsor, they're cocks, and I spoke to this operator and I said, "I want this remote." And she says, "Oh, okay." And she goes, "That'll be $28 or whatever." It says, "No, it won't be $28. And she goes, "Why?" I said, "I've been a fucking Foxtel subscriber. I've been a customer for 16 years, darling. If I have to pay $24, you can shove it. I'm not paying shit. I will not pay shit for it."
As a matter of fact, I'm getting rid of my service.
You know what she said to me? She says, "Oh, I have to speak to my supervisor." She became a fucking man-child. And she says, "Oh, I have to go speak to my supervisor."
If I had a girlfriend, she'd kill me.
And I'm like, "Well, go speak to whoever it is, but I'm not paying $24. You're going to give me that fucking remote. I'm not paying shit." And she went, and I heard this, right? And then she gets back on the phone and she says, "Oh, you're right. You're entitled to it for free. You get a 100% discount." You know what I said? "What's a 100% discount? That means it's free, doesn't it?" And she says, "Yes, you don't have to pay anything for it." I go, "Good, send it to me." Fuck off. That fucking shits me, man. Like, as if I should even have to ring up. But not only that, they've designed it in such a way that they're actually forcing you to buy that fucking remote. They are, because it's useless without it. You can't get into Netflix properly. I mean, you know when you get into Netflix and it shows everything that's in Netflix? You can't do that on Foxtel at the moment. You have to fucking open their bloody tile, which might be Stranger Things, might be some other bullshit show, and it opens up. Yes, it does open it up, but if I want to go into the Netflix pure menu, you can't do it unless you got the button on the remote at the moment, as far as I'm aware. If I'm wrong, I apologise. What a fucking disgrace.
That button
fucking
came
disgrace.
free on my TV remote.
Fuck off. And then they want you to pay for it. Are you fucking serious now?
And that's not a small amount for a controller either.
$28 they wanted for it.
If it was a Logitech multi-controller, then maybe.
You know what the best bit is? I said to her, "Well, how long am I waiting for this?" She goes, "Oh, 2 weeks."
Yeah, fuck.
2 weeks to send me a fucking remote. What do they do, making it in fucking China? And there's a bunch of Chinese going, another power Netflix remote, mate, Netflix. Not Retrix. Topic of the show. Let's do it. Formula One.
Fucking Formula One.
We're in the summer break at the time of this recording.
Formula One.
At the time of this recording, it's summer break, so there's no action. But there has been action while we've been away, not talking Formula One. and I called it because I'm fucking a legend. I called it from ages ago.
What was there to call?
Gasly dropped, right? Now, Rocket Russell didn't argue with me, but he said, I think they might stick with him for the year and drop him at the end of the year or something to
That's
that
what
effect. I knew Dr. Helmut Marko couldn't resist.
I just think it's a bad move.
I
understand, and I've watched heaps of video on why they're doing it because...
So let's go why they're doing it, right?
So basically they're doing it because Gasly hasn't performed this year and they think they're in a position to take on Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship.
To get second.
And they think Albon, who is a brilliant little driver...
He's great.
...is going to be able to get points, basically, is all he's out to get, is points. They're not worried. They just want the Constructors. They want to get into second. So they just need him to finish in the... up this point.
So they're sacrificing Gasly in the hope that Albon will get more points... so they can get second in the Constructors' Championship.
Yes, I'm shaking my head, Jason. I'm not impressed.
Now, part of me says that's consistent with their behaviour.
It is consistent.
Right? Because they've done it before. They dropped Kvyat.
And Verstappen. I mean, it was the same thing.
They've done it. They've done it, right?
Yeah.
So I was not shocked, and that's why I said that would happen, right? Couple of things from this that people aren't really talking about except for... one video I saw from Autosport. They're very good, those guys.
They're brilliant.
And I agree with what they said, but they didn't say it in the way I'm going to say it. Kvyat's fucked. Because Helmut Marko didn't promote him to Red Bull.
Which he should have done.
Which he should have, because he's more experienced than Albon. But the fact that he overlooked him, even after he got a podium in the German Grand Prix, this is Kvyat I'm talking about, says to me that he's fucked, right? And I agree 100% with what the Autosport guy said. Kvyat's got to get out of Toro Rosso. He's done at Red Bull. He's done. It's over for him, right? Because if you can't get promoted now after dropping Gasly, you're never going to get promoted, right? No. And in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Helmut Marko is probably scrupulous enough to actually suggest there's other drivers out there that he'll fuck Kvyat off from Toro Rosso as well. He's not safe. He's not safe at Red Bull. He's got to get out.
He should have got the
he should have got the seat.
He should have got the seat. Albon's only done 12 races.
Yep.
Did his first wet Formula 1 race
Because people
this year.
forget, Kvyat did all of 2015 alongside Daniel Ricciardo. He actually outscored Daniel Ricciardo. Now, he outscored Daniel Ricciardo in 2015 only because Ricciardo had a shocking season in terms of reliability. Had nothing to do with him. But Kvyat was in the Red Bull all of 2015. In 2016, it got to about the midpoint before the summer break, and then Helmut Marko came in and said, "You're gone, and I'm putting Verstappen in," right? And then after that, he went into a downward spiral, right?
Well, he went off for a year, didn't he?
He went off, yeah. So he is the more experienced driver for Red Bull. The fact that he didn't get promoted into the senior team says a lot to me, and I agree with what Autosport said. He's done.
He's gone.
He's gone, man. I'm telling you now, he's done.
Gone.
So
Which is a pity, because he's actually showed maturity this year.
He has a lifeline. And the lifeline might be Haas. Because there's rumours now, I don't know if you've heard this little cracker, there's rumours that Haas might actually still piss off Grosjean or Magnussen or both.
I've heard Grosjean's gone.
Grosjean should go, because Grosjean's...
This is why I'm really disappointed this week that nothing bar the Albon shit has dropped this week. I was hoping we'd have the Bottas decision done by this week.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. We'll get to this shit, right? But the lifeline might be for Kvyat, because I want Kvyat to stay. I think he's been awesome this year.
I think this year he has really
And you know what will be really
driver.
annoying? If someone like Grosjean's still in Formula 1 next year, but Kvyat's not, because that says to me that's bullshit. Because Grosjean, I don't care what anyone says, he's never impressed me once in Formula 1. He was once linked to Ferrari, to go to Ferrari. Remember that? Around 2013, he was linked to go to Ferrari. And I went, you know why? Why would he be linked? He's shit. He's not that fucking good. He's only fast every other weekend when he fucking feels like it. But other than that, the prick whinges. And ever since he's been in Haas, all he's done is whinge. And now he's at Haas this year. He's been in a fucking abomination with his... He's more of a whingier prick than I am. And that's saying something, because I'm a fucking whinger, right? And fucking Grosjean, right, might outlast someone like Kvyat, and that's wrong, right? And
Very wrong.
But Grosjean, if he does go, there's a rumour that Kvyat might actually jump ship, and I think he needs to now, because you know what? He probably sat at Toro Rosso going, now if Helmut Marko puts me in Red Bull, that means I'm back. And I'm going to prove that I'm worthy to be there. And everyone would have said, you know what? You deserve to be there now because you were on the podium in Germany, right? And all the other races too, you've been consistent, right? He got overlooked. That says to me, Helmut Marko doesn't like him. And once helmet market doesn't like you, you're fucked.
Yeah.
That's why Ricardo's gone too, I think. That's why Ricardo
there
left.
was actually an article this morning, Ricardo's talking about the main reason he left was his race engineer being promoted to the factory.
Really? And he didn't want to hang around because of that.
Well, apparently he's got a really good relationship with a race engineer, so apparently that was his deciding factor.
You know, it's just, let's park...
and the Honda is to park.
Well, do you know Ricardo's being sued for £10 million?
Yes.
Do you know about this?
Yes.
Mate, this is fucking big. So Ricardo, I think Ricardo's having a shocking year because Ricardo, apart from Renault, we'll get to fucking Renault, Ricardo is being beaten up at Renault, and he's also now being beaten up in his personal life because this fuckwit's come out and said...
Yeah, this guy's just a fuckwit.
He's a fuckwit, but he says he's taken Ricardo to court and he wants to sue... He's suing him for £10 million because he says that Ricardo said offhandedly that he was entitled to 20% of his revenue if he got to Renault.
And like Daniel's come out and said, he said, I never said that.
No.
I gave you 20% as a bonus for one of my previous signings. Doesn't mean that sets the bar.
You know what the fuck up
everything.
is? There's no paper trail to
He's got no chance then.
No, well, no. Both parties might be in trouble because an informal agreement might actually be construed as a contract.
Sometimes a handshake can be taken as a contract.
Yeah, but how are you going to prove that in a court of law?
Well, it might be some little bit of evidence against Ricardo. But what I'm saying is, I don't know the ins and outs. That's a distraction for him. That's a distraction for him. That's more shit that he doesn't need.
He hasn't had a good year.
No. And all the other shit that he's dealing with at Renault, right?
And as we know, well, as you know, because we've discussed this during the week, I've had my blinkers on all year.
What did I say?
I've had my blinkers on all year, saying that's okay. It's a rebuilding year for Renault. What did I say? This is why he's having a shocker.
What did I say?
But after that video the other day,
they're
in crisis. They're fucked.
They're fucked. Renault are fucking gone. And okay, so I gave you a homework assignment. What was it? I gave you the wackiest of wacky theories. Have you had time to marinate on it?
What was the wacky theory?
My wacky theory was this: Renault will pull out at the end of 2021. And Ricardo will retire at the end of next year.
Look, there's not much out there, but after watching that...
He's too young to retire.
No, he doesn't give a fuck.
He's got the Aussie attitude, you know?
He's actually older than you think. He's 30. He's 30 this year, and in Formula One now, that's ancient, right?
That used to be the going age for Formula One driver.
Used to be when you're in your prime. Now, he's a little bit on the old side, and that's going to work against him. I hope I'm fucking wrong with what I'm about to say.
Big way.
I hope I'm wrong. But when I saw that video from Autosport, and those guys are never fucking wrong, by the way. When we learnt about that Renault are in fucking more crisis than we actually thought, then I went to you immediately and I said, they're done. I'm telling you now they're done.
And I'm on the bandwagon
Because
now.
Here's a whole thing for everybody, and for you, Jason, Relaxation. Renault went into the Formula One program again, saying that they would win the world title, spending 15% less than Mercedes were at the year 2014. We're now in 2019, right? And Mercedes are spending way more than they were in 2014 because they get a lot more money because they've won the constructors, right?
Well, not only that, but there was so Renault wasn't around for the renegotiation of the TV money.
That's right. They lost out.
They lost out in a big way. And Mercedes and Ferrari, well, Ferrari they just give them money because we're Ferrari and we're fucking wicked. And Mercedes-Benz.
But you know the problem with Renault? I was thinking about this the other day before we get to the real big rant that we've got. Renault have not done themselves any favours over the last 10, 15 years. You know why? They enter the sport, they leave it. They enter it, they leave it.
Yeah.
Let's go back.
There's no consistency.
No, let's go back. In 2004, they were in the Formula One.
Engine supply, weren't they? Yep.
No, they had their own team, but they weren't doing well.
No.
Then in 2005 and 6, they won the world title with Fernando Alonso, right? Then in 2009, they pulled the fucking pin again, right? Then in 2012, I think it was, maybe 13, I'm probably a year or two out with all of this shit, they came back into it. Then they fucking left. Then in 2016, they came back in, right? And when they came back in 2016, they were half dipping their toe in the water. They had drivers like fucking, what's his name? Jolyon Palmer, right? They weren't really serious about it. Then they started making, 27 and we're going to be serious now because we're going to build towards 2021. Now, because the regulations aren't finalised for 2021, I don't think they're really keen on them because, as Autosport said, They weren't part of the
investing.
negotiating table because they weren't a manufacturing team in the sport during the times that the other teams decided on the rules. And they haven't got the power now to be a big factor in the rules for 2021. They're not part of the table. They're not at the table because they're not big enough. And the other fuck up is that they won't commit to actually putting more funds into the program.
Yeah.
So when they've gone to their board, their investors, they've bought the board and said, are we going to stay in Formula One? Yes, they did say they would, but at the fucking fraction of the budget that Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull are putting into it. So they're never going to fucking win.
And
they're never going to win.
And as we were discussing during the week, and the video quite clearly states, is, you look at like Force
That's right.
Well, sorry, Racing Point. I nearly said Force India.
Yeah,
Racing
Racing Point.
And all these other teams at the moment are spending big bucks
Yep.
on
Wind tunnels,
and facilities. Because as of next year, you're capped on the amount of money you can spend. So there's companies...
They're spending it now.
They're spending it now.
Yeah.
They're getting the
I think
infrastructure
Renault
down.
might have done that. I think Renault spent $1 billion on their facility there at Enstone, and they reckon it's state of the art. But the other thing is that they're not spending enough on their other, like the Viry-Châtillon, which is the engine location.
yeah.
They build their engines. They haven't got enough money invested in wind tunnels. They haven't got enough. They're not spending now to preempt the inevitable cost cutting measures of the future, where they're not allowed to spend as much on their facilities. So they're fucked. I'm telling you now, they're fucked.
They're gone.
They're gone.
They're
right
gone.
now, I was sitting there listening to this, and then I texted you, Rocket Russell, and I'm like, okay, I wonder now what did Daniel Ricciardo see that we don't know about? To sell him the idea that he's going to potentially be in a championship
The
winning
article
team.
this morning's come out, and he said his main issues were, so Simon, I think it was Simon something, is his race engineer he's had forever.
Yep.
Was moving back to the factory, which concerned him. He had a really good relationship, which is understandable. A lot of race engineers like to take, or racers, sorry, like to take their race engineers with them. Look at Schumacher.
Massa was with what's his name? With that English guy, Felipe Massa was with that guy for years.
Yes. Michael Schumacher basically bought his entire team from Benetton to Ferrari.
And Lewis Hamilton's with Bono for ages. He's been with Bonington.
He dragged him from McLaren over.
Yep.
So they get a really good bond together. So that was apparently a really concerning part for him. And looking down the grid at Honda, he was really concerned with the reliability of Honda.
You know what? But I think there's two people that have made mistakes here, or about two entities. Ricardo made a mistake with that, and so did McLaren. Here's another little wacky rumour for you. McLaren would have been better staying with Honda, right? But have you heard the latest little wacky rumour with McLaren? They want out with Renault. They want to go back to Mercedes engines because they feel if they're with Mercedes power again, they've got more of a chance of being a title contender. Have you heard that bullshit?
I haven't heard that one. That's
a wacky one, right? But see, now there's a problem, right? Because now Red Bull are talking it up about being title contenders for next year now. Have you heard this?
Yes.
They actually believe they're going to go back to their winning ways and be title contenders in next year.
Well, I hope they are.
And I'm telling you now, Renault won't win a fucking thing.
No.
They won't be on the podium. They're not even in the fucking points.
They won't even be top 10.
They're not even in the points. They're getting further away. And then I saw that article of Autosport, right? And they're saying, well, they're not even investing. They've got a 15th of the budget of the big boys, and they're not. They're okay to stay in the sport, but you know what? They're fucking idiots.
Investment is needed.
The investment's needed, and they haven't signed off on the investment that's required. But here's the best bit, right? They want to win something within the next year or two to say, yeah, we should stay in the sport, but they won't win shit with their current budget. So I want to know if Daniel Ricciardo was sitting here, I'd say, look, man, I reckon you're awesome, but what did you see that I didn't see as an outsider looking in that makes you think this team's going to win fucking anything, let alone a title in the next couple of years, right? Because I'm telling you now, they're getting further away. And after I saw that Autosport art, because it goes back as far as 2009.
It goes back to Flavio
Briatore, who by the way, I remember having a lifetime ban in Formula One as far as I'm concerned because he was part of Singapore Gate. Remember that?
And many other things. I mean, that wasn't the only thing he got done for, was it?
He got done for mainly Singapore Gate, where he asked Nelson Piquet Jr. to crash so Fernando Alonso could win. They'd rigged the race. And so Flavio Briatore got a lifetime ban. He couldn't enter the Formula One paddock ever again. That was what my understanding of it was. Now, this guy here, right, who's a criminal, he fucking cut the budget for Renault in their engine department when he was managing the team. Remember that?
Yep.
That came out of the Autosport article. I didn't know that. So there's and so because of that, they couldn't get their resources ready for the hybrid engines in 2014.
So they lifted his lifetime ban in 2013.
Oh, did they? That's convenient, isn't it?
Yeah,
The guy fucking fixed the race. He fixed the race and they lifted his lifetime ban. That's bullshit. He shouldn't be anywhere near a paddock. And you know what? He shouldn't be managing people. He's managing drivers too, you know that?
Is he?
A fucking oath he is. That's how he makes his money. He's a manager. He always has been. He managed Michael Schumacher.
At one stage,
At one stage, yeah. That's why he went to Benetton. He took him to Benetton, and then Benetton won championships in 1994 and 95. At Enstone, by the way, that Enstone team. They are a championship-winning team. But the problem is they're fucked by Renault. Renault. See, the problem is Renault don't want to commit fully. They don't want to dip their toe fully in the water.
And see, Formula One's not a sport you can dip a toe in the water. You need to be committed or you just...
No.
There's no point.
So I don't know what Daniel Ricciardo saw that we didn't see. And I also feel now, after seeing all of this...
No.
It's not about the money.
Apparently the money... He's written that one off. And every article I've ever read...
It's not the money.
It's not the money.
Although I do think he was hurt when he found out Verstappen was earning a lot more than he was at Red Bull. I think that hurt him. And that would hurt you because he's a more senior team member. He won more races than Verstappen ever did at that point.
Yeah.
Right? And he'd proven himself a lot. But you know what? I think it goes a bit more personal than that. I think Dr. Helmut Marko, who also this week or the week before said, quote unquote, we've never had a driver as good as Max Verstappen. That's bullshit. So you're telling me that fucking Vettel, who won 4 championships with you, wasn't a good driver as Verstappen? You're telling me Daniel Ricciardo, who fucked, by the way, at Monaco, right, and never really said sorry to him. You're saying that he's not as good as Verstappen is? And that's the other little article that came out too. Verstappen's killed so many teammates.
that's actually quite...
That was a great article.
Read.
Verstappen has ruined so many team members because every team member that comes up against him's fucked, right? Gasly, right? Fucked. Who else did he ruin? Oh, Ricciardo left on his own merit, but Ricciardo, I think Ricciardo did loop a bit about Max too. I really do feel that.
It had to be something.
Yeah, there's some, even though he says no.
It wouldn't have just been your race engineer and the motor.
No. It's Verstappen. I also feel the preferential treatment Verstappen was getting.
Yes.
Because apparently they've designed this car around Verstappen.
Yeah,
right?
and that's,
So there's that. Pierre Gasly, gone. Right? Carlos Sainz Jr. when they were at Toro Rosso, gone. He's ruined so many teammates, and they reckon
this is what I was saying to you during the week. Is I'm really worried because I think Albon. I mean, he was second in the F2 last year.
You know all that Albon has to do. He's just got to be closer to him. If Verstappen finishes 4th, Alexander Albon, you finish 5th. Whereas Gasly was nowhere, man. He was nowhere near fucking Verstappen. No. That's all he's got to do. All right, and Pierre, I think, it's come to light that Pierre Gasly, has said that he never really got his handle on the car because it was set up. It was set up and designed for Max Verstappen, and I actually think that maybe Daniel got wind of that too, right? And he fucked off. But it's obvious to me how good Daniel Ricciardo is because he could actually go toe-to-toe with Verstappen.
Yeah.
He could.
If he had the car, the right day, right car.
Yep, he could. Now, Verstappen would beat him in qualifying and he would beat him in races, but Daniel Ricciardo could hold his own against Verstappen, no question.
He could beat him in qualifying as well. I mean,
he did. That was the best moment when he got pole in Mexico. And fucking Verstappen got sour grapes over it because Daniel put it on pole and Verstappen put it alongside him, and that was going to be Verstappen's at that time first pole. And he would have been the youngest pole sitter in the history of Formula One, but he got fucked, and Daniel Ricciardo fucked him, and that's why Ricciardo was so happy about it. Remember that? He goes, at least someone believes in me. That was what it was all about. Christian Horner plays favourites too. I don't care what anyone says, and I know you don't like him, but fucking Mark Webber has even written that in his book, right? He actually wrote that Christian Horner plays games and plays favourites, right? So, look, I don't know what Daniel Ricciardo saw when he went to Renault and looked around the facility and was promised that it was going to be... I just do not see them. I hope I'm wrong. I don't see them winning shit. And I actually see them pulling out. right? And I reckon at the end of the day, if Daniel writes a book, and I reckon he will write that Cyril Abitbol was the greatest car salesman in the fucking world, because I reckon he sold him a lemon. I really do.
Yeah, no, he did.
I really do.
As we know, I've been on the fence all year going, no, it's a development year, year. I've had my blinkers on.
Nah, man.
Last week or two,
they're in fucking crisis. And you know what? I was bored one day, so you know what I did? I fucking Googled Renault in crisis. And you know what I got? One article about Cyril Abitbol admitting that this year that they've got a communication crisis. One of their big issues this year, according to him, is they can't communicate between the different departments. So one department wants to fabricate some new parts because they've designed it and apparently it's going to give them some aerodynamic efficiencies, and the manufacturing department hasn't been able to make the shit in time, right? And so he's called it a communication crisis. Well, you know what I'd say? Cyril, that's your fucking job to sort out. Yeah. If he doesn't go at the end of this year, Renault aren't serious. I'm saying it now.
A fairly easy fix.
If Renault don't get rid of Cyril...
Teams?
No.
Microsoft Teams. That'll fix your problem.
But if Cyril doesn't go...
you got to wonder, because we were discussing Haas during the week. So Haas's team...
Dallara make the chassis in the US.
Yeah. So they got the US, they've got aerodynamics is done out of the Ferrari factory in Maranello. They actually have a dedicated team that lives at Maranello doing aerodynamics.
Yep.
Well, if they can get over a communication problem, well, I mean, in saying that, they're having a shocking year as well. What does that say about...
But a lot of that is apparently due to their... they've got the Dallara manufacturer making the chassis in the US. They get stuff out of the UK. They got most of their stuff's out of the UK.
Stuff's built in the UK.
So this year they are having a really bad communication issue in terms of getting bits bolted on at the right time. That's their biggest issue.
I don't know if it's that.
But there's also a fundamental...
Because, I mean...
there's a fundamental issue.
They're running two cars at the moment. They're running Melbourne spec car, which is doing quite well, and the current spec car, which is...
This is why they're now pointing fingers at the drivers, because they're saying, you fucks aren't giving us the right feedback. Now, I'll give credit where credit's due. Paul DiResta, who's on Sky F1, as a commentator and an ex-Force India driver, made an awesome comment. He said, well, you know what? These guys shouldn't be whinging. These guys should be actually telling the team what's wrong with the car, right? And they're not doing that. They're not actually doing a good job of it. What have you found?
Nothing. No.
I can't really say.
Somewhere Siri heard you talking and decided...
Oh, I hate these monitoring devices. But you know what I mean? The drivers are not giving them the technical feedback they should be, right? But when we go back to Renault... Mate, I do not know how they get themselves out of this bullshit. They don't have the investment, right? I don't think they've got the team. I really don't. They say they've built the team. I don't see it. I don't fucking see it.
Basically, we just have to go back to the last race. Out-qualified by Williams.
Mate.
Isn't that beautiful?
Look,
Well, that was due to...
That kind of makes me a little bit happy inside.
Yeah, but that was due to they got blocked in traffic.
Thank you, fuck.
Yeah, I know.
Losing to Williams is never good.
Williams got a thing, man. You know.
Well, you know what? Let me. I'm going to give you another little example.
They must have been stoked.
I'm going to give you an example of why they're shit. Right?
Which one?
Renault. Right?
Sorry. I thought you were going to pick on Williams.
No. I don't care about Williams. I care about Renault. Right? Because I like Daniel Ricciardo, and I think he's been fucked.
I think he's been fucked.
I think he's been fucked and lied to, and I actually think, like I said, my wacky theory is he runs out of contract at the end of next year. If he doesn't feel confident that they're progressing or their championship year, which was supposed to be 2021, is a reality. If there isn't a seat at Ferrari, which there probably won't be, and there isn't a seat at Mercedes, which there probably won't be, and we'll get to Mercedes in a minute, he's going to walk away from Formula One. I'm telling you now, he will. He'll go, fuck it. You know why? Because he almost fucking walked away last year.
Yeah, well, he's got that Aussie spirit.
Yep, doesn't care. Fuck it.
Right? I've made my money.
And I'll tell you where he'll go.
I've had a good time.
You know where he'll go? He'll go to V8s.
If he comes to V8s,
he'll go to V8s.
I'm a massive V8s.
He'll draw a massive crowd.
He will go to...
Dude.
My prediction is he'll go to V8 supercars.
And I think V8 supercars will accept him with open arms.
Do you accept my wacky theory?
I do.
It's not crazy, is it?
It's not at all.
So I reckon this time next year, we will have a better feel for it as to whether my wacky theory is wacky or not. Because all Renault needs to do is get a couple of really good points, maybe a podium finish, and then it changes everything. Because what the Renault board needs is that they need some kind of evidence.
Confidence.
They need confidence, and if they get a podium out of performance, as opposed to like excuse me, as opposed to like an act of God like the German Grand Prix, because. Let's be honest, Nico Hülkenberg, if he got the podium, which he should have, because he binned it, that was an act of God. That wasn't because of performance, right?
No. And so you build a fucking drag strip down the side of a fucking Formula.
Yeah, but you know what? They're Formula One drivers. They should know better.
They should know
I'm
better.
sorry.
But
They should know that it's there.
Yeah.
They should do their track walk. They should be good enough to
they all
avoid
did
it.
their track
And you know
walk.
what?
No one was expecting it to be as slippery as it was.
But Kimi Räikkönen got out of it. He fucking skated across that thing and treated it like a rally car. That's how good Kimi Räikkönen is.
Did you see?
Right?
Have you seen? Oh, you don't. You seen the Instagram this week? He's bought his son Robin a go kart.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think he's 8 years old or something. He already go karted his son. But yeah, you go.
So here's my little wacky theory of Renault. I want to continue this. Renault. All championship winning teams show progress a year or 2 years before they win. Right? Now, let me give you some examples.
So we're talking Williams winning 2023.
No. Let me give you some examples, right? Real world examples. 1997, McLaren started winning a race or two, and they started getting podiums.
Yep.
Right? Now, that year, Ferrari was much better than McLaren, and Williams won the Constructors' and Drivers' Championship. But in 1997, they were showing progress. 1998, after regulation changes, guess what? McLaren destroyed the field and won Drivers' and Constructors' Championships. And they continued that in 1999, but then were beaten by a better Ferrari in 1999.
Yeah,
In 2000, they won the Driver and Constructors' Championship in 2000, right? Now, 2004, Renault started showing better performance. And then in 2005 and 6, guess what? Fernando Alonso won the championship and the Constructors' Championship for Renault, right? I could keep going on. 2013, Mercedes started showing better performance.
We'll go back to 2010. 2011 for Mercedes.
They showed better performance.
Yes,
But they weren't winning all the time, but they showed better performance. Then in 2014, the rest is history. They destroyed the field and won everything, right? And what I'm saying now is that if Renault want to win in 2021, you got to see some better performance now. They can't be fucking 16th, 17th, or not in the points. They've got to be in the points. They've got to be 4th or 5th or something. Then next year, they've got to be on the podium. And you know what? Even better, they should win a race or two.
Well, they're going to be ahead of their customer teams. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what you got to do.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you where they should be. They should be where McLaren is this year.
They should be, but McLaren,
Even better.
McLaren has turned it on.
But
McLaren's
they should be
done it this
But they
year.
should be even better than the McLaren.
Yeah, well, that's a customer team.
That's right.
You know,
That's
they
a customer
should be
team.
well and truly ahead of McLaren.
That's right. So they're a disgrace, Renault. They're in crisis. They're a disgrace. They're fucking done. I've called it now. That's my Nostradamus prediction. They will pull out of the sport at the end of 2021 when things don't go their way. And Ricciardo will see that they can't win in 2021, and he's out of contract next year, and he'll fuck off.
If he doesn't
unless
have
he gets a Mercedes or a Ferrari driver, he's gone. Why would you go back to anywhere else? He's not going to go to Haas.
Fuck, I'd love to see him in a Ferrari.
So would I. So would I. But you know what?
Could you imagine Melbourne?
Awesome.
It'd just be a sea of red, wouldn't it?
But you know what? I don't think the culture would fit him.
You reckon?
Vice versa.
I actually agree.
He's too chill back.
Yeah, he's way too
He's
chill
too
for
chilled back.
Ferrari.
No, so I don't think it suits him, or vice versa.
I think Mercedes would suit him well.
Mercedes would be okay.
It's all about efficiency.
You know why? Because Hamilton's flamboyant
Yeah.
in personality.
That's one fucking word for him.
Well, him and Hamilton get on pretty well, don't they? Even though Hamilton's a
They
dick.
would initially be okay as teammates.
Yeah, but then you'd have the Nico Hamilton
Yeah.
issue
Yeah.
within
But you
months.
know what? I actually think that would be one of the best driver lineups ever. Ricardo and Hamilton. Awesome.
You reckon Merck would even consider that?
No.
No.
Because you know why? I'm going to move on to this now. I think Bottas is safe at Mercedes.
I think they would have announced it by now.
I think he's safe.
So-
you know why I say that? And I could be wrong. I could look like an idiot on Monday or Tuesday or whenever they announce it. Because I think Hamilton's going to want Bottas to be there. because he knows he can beat Bottas, and Bottas doesn't rock the boat. He's chilled out. He just wants to fucking drive in a Mercedes and pick up the occasional win. I'm telling you now, that's what it is.
I'd like to say he's staying, but I don't know. Just something.
Well, who's going to go? Well, Ocon won't go there. I think Ocon's going to go to Renault, by the sounds of it.
The one I've heard at the moment is Ocon into Bottas' seat, Bottas to Renault.
I heard that wacky theory too.
And Hulkenberg, where was Hulkenberg in the wash-up? I think he was at Haas, wasn't he?
Yeah,
in the wash-up.
Looks like if that's going to happen, Hulkenberg will go to Haas. Yeah. And you know what? I feel sorry for Hulkenberg because he'll never get a podium.
No.
Never. You know? But he'll go this year for sure. Yeah, he'll go.
He'll move.
You know what? Even though he said just before the German Grand Prix, I'm staying at Renault. He said, I don't know, mate.
I'm pretty sure fucking Gasly was saying that last week as well.
Gasly was saying that. Yeah.
So
I think Bottas, I think, is going to stay. That's my gut feel. I could be very, very wrong. Ocon, I think, is going to probably end up at Renault, maybe something like this, or maybe stay at Mercedes as a test driver. I don't see there's room at the end for him. I'm sorry.
I'd like to see him get a drive because I think he's a great driver.
He's great, yeah.
But
Renault would want him because he's French. Renault want that.
They'd love a French one.
No, because you remember the French Grand Prix? There was a sea of yellow. There were so many Renault supporters there. And again, that's what the board wants to see because it sells cars.
And you give a French driver in a French
Put a
car,
French driver in a
French Grand Prix. Oh my god.
And if the car's competitive and he's on a fucking podium in a French Grand Prix, what more do you want?
Look,
right?
I don't even think they'd care if he was competitive as long as Renault was competitive. I think,
Yeah.
But the fact you've got a French driver and a French car and a French, it's just
it'd be huge. Yeah. I don't know, man, but I think Bottas is safe. Only because Hamilton wants him there. You know why? Because I actually think
Bottas is a great second driver. I mean,
he's awesome.
He's one of the best second drivers of all time, up there with Massa.
But I also think you're overlooking the fact that up until recently, he's been a great teammate for Hamilton. He's actually done his job. He's been really competitive, competitive. He's dropped off a little bit. So he's gone from Bottas 2.0 to maybe Bottas 1.5, right? But he's actually probably better than he was up until last year.
Better than he was last year, for sure.
That's why I think he'll stay. And you know what? I reckon Hamilton wants him there, and I reckon Toto Wolff doesn't want to rock the boat too much. You bring someone in like Ricciardo, man, you're gonna rock the boat. You got two egos in that team, man.
Yeah, two egos is not good.
Daniel's a nice ego. But I reckon Hamilton won't want him in the team. He won't want him. You know why? Because
Hamilton's a dick.
Yeah, but I reckon Hamilton's got this little thing in his contract. I get to pick who my teammate is. I fucking wouldn't.
Well, Schumacher had it.
Yep, he did. And Ferrari did. That's why Barrichello, who you sent me an article on this week.
Did. Sorry, that's kind of exciting. He's coming. So Australia's holding its own
Rubinho
open wheel car. Yeah. We're calling it the S5000, which makes me think of Tirana's.
Yep.
But, and Rubens is coming down for the opening race in Adelaide, which I'm almost contemplating going to Adelaide. I don't like going to the serial killer capital of the world.
the biker capital of the world, yeah.
Well, you know what? Rubens was
Lots of barrels in there.
Rubens was an awesome teammate.
That's for sale, that place.
Is it?
Cheap, apparently. They can't sell it.
No shit.
Yeah, Rubens was great. So was Felipe Massa.
You know what? Initially, I didn't want Felipe because he came from Sauber. I think it was Sauber. Into Ferrari, and I was disappointed when I heard that because I always thought Rubens back in the early 2000s was one of the best teammates that Ferrari ever had for Michael Schumacher.
He was brilliant.
But Felipe proved his worth after Schumacher left because Felipe almost won the title in 2008.
Yep.
So
missed it by a couple of points to Kimi, didn't he?
He got fucked by what was that?
And he deserved that.
Didn't Hamilton pass? This was in Brazil. Hamilton passed somebody to finish fifth, and that's how Hamilton won the 2008 title.
There was something.
There was some silliness like that. He didn't win it.
He was one driver who actually deserved a world championship.
Massa.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, he got better as he got older. As a driver, because when he's
in Formula E now, isn't he?
Yes,
doing very well.
Yeah, he's a good driver now. When he was a young kid and he first got into Formula One, he made a lot of mistakes. He had a lot of crashes, and so when he went to Ferrari, I went, well, that's shitty shit. But he was awesome in Ferrari, and he was awesome. You know what? He got better after his accident in Hungary. Remember the spring hit him in the helmet?
Yeah.
And he almost got... He was seriously...
killed.
Almost got killed. He was seriously injured. And he was a better fucking driver after that. Unbelievable. Balls of steel, Felipe Massa. One of the best drivers. And he pulled a massive crowd in Brazil too. Mate, they used to come out from everywhere to watch Felipe.
Yep. You didn't see crowds like that since Senna.
No.
Senna
now there's no Brazilian drivers.
We're still discussing the calendar for next year, aren't they?
Is it on the calendar?
Brazil even going to get a run?
It might not.
Yeah.
It might not get a run next year. Because I don't think Germany's got a run next year yet either.
Well,
because Mercedes-Benz
sponsored this year because of their anniversary, which did we rant about this last time?
No, we haven't. We haven't talked about Formula One. What, you didn't like the liveries and the...
No, I thought that was great. I just think you weren't in the fucking sport for 50 years.
Oh, that's right.
You just weren't.
Yeah,
you left. We had this rant last time. So sorry.
You know what I do like is the fact that that's open discussion for Liberty Media to potentially do a retro round in Silverstone next year to celebrate
awesome.
To celebrate the 70th year of Formula One.
Make them drive the old cars.
Fucking awesome, mate. You didn't see it. I'd give credit where credit's due.
Mercedes went
all out.
It was brilliant.
They wore the original mechanics outfit from the 50s.
Everybody
looked
in
awesome.
the team, not just parts of the team.
Good on them.
Yep.
Everybody. It was
Good
brilliant.
on 'em.
I didn't like the look of the cars, but the actual team looked...
I understand the concept they were going for. I didn't particularly like it.
But the teams looked awesome, man.
The team looked brilliant.
So there's a rumour, and I mean a rumour, that Liberty Media picked up on the popularity of that and how respected Mercedes were for doing that by the other teams, that the other teams are quite happy to talk with Liberty Media about making Silverstone a retro round where they go back to, if the teams were able to and had history enough, to put on their retro liveries. So Renault could do
So
it.
Ferraris will be red.
Yeah, but they had different colour reds. They had blood red. They had scarlet red. I don't like this fucking dull red.
Dull red
matty
shit. Yeah.
It looks good on the cameras. That's what it's gone for.
Is it? And I thought it was weight.
It looks good on the cameras. Apparently, the red pops. Red Bull was actually the first one to go with the matte
But
colours.
I thought it was about weight.
No.
The colour of the...
Apparently, it pops better on TV. It looks better on TV in the matte.
I like the really scarlet Ferraris of the late 90s.
Early 2000s.
Early
the
2000s.
Schumacher
The
reds.
Schumacher era.
The proper Scuderia red.
Yeah. Beautiful,
Fucking
beautiful scarlet bright Ferrari. They were awesome.
It's pretty much every colour. Every car I buy in Forza or Horizon.
It's always the same colour.
It's always that red. It's Scuderia red.
I'm telling you, man, my next car is going to be dog dick red as well.
No, they're the worst
Dick
cars.
red.
They're the worst cars. I had a bright red. Remember my bright red Commodore? Going back to
Yeah.
Commodores and Falcons. I had a bright red fucking Commodore.
Mass circle.
Mate, we go back to where we started. That car got fucking destroyed 3 times. No bullshit. The first time I was at a set of lights and this 8-month pregnant woman.
She was on her phone, wasn't she?
She was on her phone texting and she bit my car like it was Jaws at the back of it. Right, she rammed it so hard, the airbag in her car went off, right, and the Commodore took the brunt of it, but the exhaust pipe went up into the rear wheel arches. The boot was destroyed. It was fucked. I had to get it towed. Got that fixed. 1 week after it came out of the panel shop, it got sideswiped. Again, I was stationary at a set of lights, and this guy wanted to turn right into the right turn bay, but he misjudged the gap, and he sideswiped the entire side of that car, and I took it to the panel beaters again. Then, what happened after that? Then I had, I was in the car park, waiting to get out of the car park, and this chick didn't even look what she was doing, and she fucking slammed into the side of it. And every time I'd go to the boss and go, look, man, I'm really sorry, because it was a company car. I go, what do you want me to do? You want me to take? He goes, no, man, you got to get that repaired. And I went to because I had a preferred repairer, and I kept going to the same place. And the guy looked at me and goes, mate, this car was here 4 weeks ago. I know. It's cursed. Fuck this car. Red is the worst. They look awesome, but they're the worst cars in terms of vision. People look at it and want to hit it, and they get dull very quick. You got to polish them all the time. If you don't put that car in a carport, in a garage, not a carport, that car will fade really badly, really quickly. Worst color.
Yeah.
You don't want red,
and
dude.
you've got the second worst colour now.
Oh yeah, that car, his color is shit.
Black.
I've got R blue.
It looks black.
It looks good, but mate, it gets dirty
I had
quick.
a black car. I'm a black AU XR8. I was forever washing that.
Shout out to the retro skater. He listens to this bullshit. He had a theory. Every car he ever owned, every car, because we used to get cars every 3 years too, like, you know, the old man did back in the day. Every car he got as a company car, white. And he kept saying it's the safest colour.
It is the safest colour.
Because everyone can see
in
it.
resale, the whole lot.
Yep. And the Golf I've got, white. And it's the best colour, man. You know, the only thing about white is any tar stain from the road, it
Can't get it
shows
off.
that. Well, you can buy tar remover and shit like that. But it does show up more on the white colour. But white is awesome, man.
Yeah, but I'm due for a midlife crisis car, so I want something that's going to stand out.
No, you don't. You know what? If I got my next car, if I got one,
get a Renault bright yellow fucking
oh,
thing.
yeah, but I'd get a Mercedes A-Class silver colour.
Yeah, but you got more money than I do.
I'm fucking loaded. Shout out to all the harpies out there that want to take all my money. Come and get me, darlings.
I'm looking at you with disgust on my face. At
What?
The moment.
A silver Mercedes? Why not?
Okay, I'm good with the Mercedes part, but an A-Class? Seriously, bro?
I don't want a big car, dude. A C-Class is too big for me.
I don't care.
An A250.
So what, you're going to get...
No,
what you're telling me
an
basically
A40.
here...
An A40s,
What
the
you're
big
telling
ones.
me here
What?
is you're going to become a hairdresser.
Hello.
We have an uncle that's a hairdresser.
Does he drive a fucking A-Series Mercedes?
Not anymore.
No, he does have a Mercedes,
guess.
though. He does.
Let me guess, he's
What?
now driving a Subaru.
No. Mate,
Doesn't he drive a shitbox fucking
he-
Toyota
He's got two.
Prius?
He's got three cars.
Prius, okay,
No,
so
he's got three cars. He's got a Leaf, a
Yeah, that's
Nissan
right.
Leaf.
That's it. It's a Leaf.
It's a rechargeable motherfucker.
I know what it is. This is why I'm just sitting here with
He's
this.
got
He's
no.
got a Triumph TR3.
Yes, it's a classic car, and he's
Yeah.
got a mechanic that comes to his home and does the service on his car.
Charges him a minute.
Charges
He's got
him like
personal
100.
mechanic.
TR3 there.
Yeah.
Is it TR3 or 5?
5, TR5, and he had it classically restored to the original colour, British Racing
Shits
green.
itself all the time.
Right? Oh, it's beautiful. The interior, he had it fully done. The wheels fully done to the original specification. It's beautiful. It is such a beautiful car. But he's bought this shitbox Honda once because he didn't want to take his nice cars to the shopping centre. He goes to Audi a lot, right? So he used to buy this shitbox Honda, and he didn't care if people dinged the doors, and that didn't care. Then he came home. Then he had a runaround car. It was a Mercedes SUV type of thing. That was his runaround car. But he called it his shopping car. That was his shitbox Honda, right? Now his runaround car's his Nissan Leaf.
I remember as a kid he had a Porsche Carrera too.
He had a yes.
A white Carrera.
No,
Yeah.
he had two. He had a white one and he had a yellow one.
himself for selling those. They're worth an absolute.
He had two of them.
This is a
man.
1980s spec.
1985.
Worth so
It was a
much.
1985 yellow
Widowmaker.
911. Oh, it's beautiful, man. He's always had cool cars, and he's a fucking hairdresser.
No, well.
Well, he does more shit than that.
He's a property investor is where he got his most of his
he's
money from.
Well, he's an entrepreneur.
Okay,
That's what we'll say, right? But he has a Triumph. Oh, what a car, man. You would drool over it. It's beautiful.
I drool over most cars.
No, but this is a classic car. This is a classic car. You know those cars that was it Shannon's?
Yep.
That type of shit. That's what that is, right?
Hey, my car's insured with Shannon's. Does that make it a classic?
Mine's insured by NRMA or some bullshit. And it's a classic. Mine's a classic now, apparently.
Go-Go-Mobile.
Not the
GGO.
Not the go-go. Not the dart. Not the dart. Are we done?
Have we finished Formula One?
I think
Are we waiting for any more? So we're waiting for the Bottas news. We're waiting for the Haas news.
I think the tables or the chairs may move a little bit in the merry-go-round.
The problem is
Maybe.
working out who's going to go where.
Well, Toto Wolff said that they're making no announcements until after the summer break,
Well,
which is
wasn't
about
during the
3
summer
weeks,
break?
2 weeks
I thought it was during the summer break.
after. He said,
So we got nothing until that happens
Yeah.
because no one will move until
yeah.
that's
So I
done.
think Spa weekend will know.
I did watch. Have you watched the biometrics video?
No.
Claire Williams has done it from Williams.
Yep.
That is amazing. So Formula One's gone to a next level with pit stops. They have hired biometric experts to come in and work out. So you know the what is it? The world record done by Red Bull
It's still not going to help Williams win a race, you know that.
Williams is the second fastest pit.
Red
crew.
Bull just beat it. I think it was under under 2 seconds.
It's clear of 2 seconds.
Yeah,
I think
It doesn't make back the 10 seconds a lap, you fucking shit.
No, stop. Williams have done well. They've done some upgrades.
Let me tell you now. Okay, while we're talking about drivers, I'm really sorry, but Robert Kubica's got to go.
Yes,
I'm really sorry. I think
no, I don't have a problem with that.
I was probably only one of the few that wasn't really wrapped when they announced he was coming back. Because you know why? Look, I'm being hard, but there are plenty of better younger drivers that deserve a go. He had his day. I'm sorry he did.
And
right?
to get back from
100
shattering every bone in the right side of your body to be able
Amazing.
to drive a Formula One car,
Amazing.
And I can understand it that Williams knew they were in trouble, and they needed one of those asses in a car that was a Nicky Lauda, you know?
Yeah.
I can feel a bolt in the left-hand rear is loose. I think that's what they needed. I don't think he'll make... I think he would last the year.
Yep.
His sponsors already said he'll be there for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Look, Williams are in no position to shuffle the deck straight away, unless Mercedes... Because you know they're a feeder team to Mercedes.
Yes.
So unless Mercedes...
Well, that's one of the other really...
Ocon goes to Williams, that's another rumour.
There's a bigger rumour that Ocon... So because there's so many wacky rumours at the moment.
It's crazy.
So there's the Ocon to Renault, Bottas to Williams.
Back to Williams, yeah.
My boy,
Yep.
Georgie.
I heard about this to Mercedes. Yeah. Well, you know what? George Russell will end up in a Mercedes car.
He will end up a world
because he
champion.
is a Mercedes driver. He's part of their academy, and Toto Wolff put him in Williams 100%
For learning.
to learn, right? And George Russell has done wonders in a car that's terrible, right?
And has the entire press eating out of his hands,
Yep.
saying he's one of the nicest
Yep.
guys, he's approachable.
He should be recognised as much as Lando Norris is, because Lando Norris is the other rookie this year.
Yep.
And Lando Norris has done an amazing job at McLaren.
Amazing.
Right? But McLaren happens to be a way better car than Williams is.
Yeah.
So,
which is when you look at it, I mean, how does the Formula 2 champion, and it wasn't just a close championship, he flogged the F2 field last year, ends up at Williams.
because, very, very simply, because George Russell is a Mercedes junior driver, and Williams have become a feeder team for Mercedes. Reason why is because they give Williams a huge discount on their engines, but the proviso is that they basically have a driver Mercedes wants to get practice in and learn and all that stuff. So,
Which I don't have a problem with.
unfortunately, that means that Williams will never be truly a championship winning team again, because I don't think they will, man. They got no money.
They've got no.
Well, they're a private constructor, dude.
Claire has come out and has cleared all that up. They've got plenty of money. They're investing.
Can I tell you? I mean, you know what? I'm not impressed with Claire Williams either. I'm sorry.
I wasn't, but I am at the moment. I've been watching quite a few interviews and things with her, and I think she's
no, because you forget who the puppet master is in the background.
Toto Wolff.
No,
it is. It is.
yeah,
Toto
it is
Wolff.
Toto. But guess the real puppet master.
Oh, it's Frankie.
No,
Ooh.
Sir Patrick Head. Sir Patrick Head has come back into the team, and because of that, there have been a lot of changes. And because one of those was Paddy Lowe went, right? And so because of that, you're seeing some progress with the car, because Sir Patrick's an awesome organizer of internal departments, and he's been able to get parts on the car that we're not able to get put on the car in a timely fashion. That was Williams'
The bigger problem was
big problem this year, right? They know what the problem is, and they were making parts, but they couldn't put the parts quickly enough on the car.
Well, it wasn't that. They were trying to... So Claire's come out and talked about it. So their problem was they didn't have enough spares for your everyday parts.
Yeah, but that's an internal problem.
Yeah, it's an internal problem. And they've sorted all that out now.
Because of Patrick Head.
Yeah, and now they're at a point where they've got enough spares for your stuff that's not going to change. They're covered for the year. So now they can look at the updates. So they've apparently got, after summer break, a whole heap of updates coming over the next couple of races.
Yeah, they have. It began because of Patrick Head.
Yeah, that's
cool.
So that's what he's there for. That's why we got him back.
That's right. That's right. But you know what? I could argue that you shouldn't have to get Patrick Head back, Because Patrick Head's done his job. He's had his day, right?
He's had his day.
He's a guy that's how old's Patrick Head? In his 70s?
He'd be well in his 70s
Right.
by now, wouldn't
Are
he?
you really telling me that team's in a good position when you get a guy like Patrick Head back? I don't think so. The guy's a legend, right? But I am sure there are capable people out there that are half his age that should be doing that job in that team. You can't tell me that team... And look, it took a long time for Claire Williams to come up with the idea, or someone to come up with the idea of putting Patrick Head in. I'll give you a wacky theory on this, and I don't know. I'm pulling it out of my ass. I'm pulling this out of my ass because I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Sir Frank Williams said, Claire, I'm going to put Patrick in. He made the decision, not Claire. Because Claire was fucking around a long time before Patrick Head came in. That's a big one. That's a big one, right? That's a big...
Okay, so your homework assignment before our next one is to go watch a couple of Claire interviews.
I'm not impressed with her. I don't need to watch...
It's not that. I mean, yes, she's the figurehead and all that, and the buck should stop with her, but there's been a lot of stuff happen in the background that was, beyond their control.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is...
Her, she's meant to be the
I
organiser.
actually feel that if you're going to get someone like Patrick Head in, something's really, really wrong, because... There are a lot of younger people out there that have been in that team for long enough that should have been able to do the job. That's my point. So what has Patrick Head done? I think he's come in and said, please explain to me what you people are doing.
Well,
and
he's still part owner, isn't he?
Yes. He's a major shareholder.
Yeah.
So he's got a vested interest in the team. But the point is, you shouldn't have to, in the modern era, rely on a guy like Patrick Head to get the job done. That's a real big problem. And I would have actually thought that was a slight against Claire. Because you're telling me you don't have the talent pool to be able to do this yourself? I'm actually convinced that Frank's come into it and said, Claire, darling, I really think we'll get our old friend Patrick to come and help for a bit. Something's really, really wrong with the team.
I think they're through it. I think that they've had their problems, and a lot of it goes back to Mr. Gone Now, Mr. Lowe.
No, he didn't. He wasn't in long enough.
They reckon he did a few things.
He did a few things, but I also... Well, you're partly right. I partly agree with you, but I partly disagree, respectfully. Because, yes...
It's okay, folks. We'll hug after this.
Yeah, we're good friends.
Yep.
The point is that, yes, Paddy Lowe obviously did something really wrong because he fucked off very quickly as soon as Patrick Head came into it. Right? You don't have to be a rocket scientist to work it out, right? But I actually think Patrick Head came into it not because Claire asked for it. Because Claire was really happy to have Paddy Lowe in there. That's what I'm saying. They were bestest of good buddies on the pit wall, and then miraculously one day Patrick Head turned up. She never announced it. She never said that was going to happen. It just happened. Bang. And Patrick Head came into it, and the next day, Paddy Lowe said he was taking personal leave. Yep. Fuck me dead. So I don't think Frank Williams doesn't know what's going on in his team. Because don't forget, it's his team, right?
His fingers well on
exactly,
the pulse.
Right? And I've always said that, and also don't forget that Claire Williams is in that team because Toto Wolff wanted her to be the team principal.
She didn't want to do it.
No, she didn't want to do it.
He forced her into it.
Exactly.
So,
and that says a lot to me, right? So I don't know if Toto Wolff's got the idea that maybe she replaces him if he was to move on at Mercedes. That's a possibility. I doubt it. But
I think it's a big. If you were Claire Williams and someone like Toto Wolff was saying you do the job and you're sitting there going, no, I can't.
But I wouldn't have her in there now.
Ring a ding ding, baby.
I wouldn't have her in there now. You know what I mean? After this bullshit.
Be interesting to see how they go over the next few races.
That's right. But I think going back to drivers, Kubitza's got to go.
Kubitza's got to go.
There's far better younger kids out there in GP2. You know, either put someone in there that can do the job. Nothing against Robert. He's a fantastic guy to get back to where he is, but there's better young kids out there.
I think they needed him for the year to help the car.
Well, again, maybe the bigger picture is he's there for his knowledge. The car doesn't handle in the way it should handle. He's got the technical brains, but you know what? You can't be 2 or 3 seconds slower than your teammate.
And your teammate's,
And your teammate's a rookie.
Is a rookie, yeah.
You know? So. I know he's got a major disability and he's overcome it, but you can't be coming dead last by 3 seconds.
Not in F1.
Not in F1. You know?
No
disrespect. He might be better as an advisor, standing there and saying, well, I'll take it out on practice days or I'll take it out on test days, whatever it is. And, I'll tell you what the nuts and bolts should be like. But at the end of the day, being in the car, I think there's better qualified people. That's what I think.
I'm hoping it's going to be a good end of the season.
For Williams?
Just full stop.
I kind of think that it might be because Max Verstappen and Red Bull look like they're on fire at the moment. And
I hope he doesn't break Albon. That's my hope.
I actually think Albon might be stronger than you think. But you know what? It doesn't matter what you think. There, the real person that's going to be the deciding factor is fucking Dr. Helmet Marko, right? So Albon might be able to stand up to Verstappen and not buckle under the pressure. You know what? Because at the end of the day, these guys are paid a lot of money not to buckle under the pressure, and they're stronger human beings than we give them credit for in terms of mental abilities. But the point is, if Dr. Helmet Marko doesn't feel he's close enough to the Verstappen, or he makes one or two little silly mistakes, because Albon's probably got more pressure than Gasly did, because now Red Bull have got a sniff of finishing second in the constructors.
That's what it all comes down to.
Whereas at the start of the season, they didn't have that. They didn't think they'd be as close as they are, because Ferrari have been an abomination. Abhorrent.
We don't want to talk about that.
No, they've been disgraceful this season, right? Worse than fucking Renault.
Oh,
right? And Renault pissed me the fuck off, but Ferrari should know better, right? But the point is now Red Bull have got a sniff of second, and now that's why Gasly's gone. And if Albon doesn't get consistent points...
he'll be gone soon.
He'll be gone too, right? But you know what? Who have they got in their talent pool? Yeah. They don't have much.
No, they've chewed through it.
They've chewed through them all. Right? Kvyat's gone because they didn't give him the nod. They should have given him one last nod. They should have said, all right, Danny, you got one last fucking go at this, but they didn't do it. No. So if I was Danny... I'd be going, mate. I'd be the first contract I had, I'd be taking it. Fuck this.
Yep. Out of there. No, I agree.
And he might do a sideways step to Haas. You never know. That might be his back. That might be his way into Ferrari. That's a wacky little theory there, isn't there? I'm full of them. But my biggest, wackiest theory of all, crazy as it sounds, and I hope I'm wrong. 100% completely wrong. And you say to me, you're a fucking idiot. And I'll go, good, I'm glad I was. Renault will pull out within the next couple of years of Formula One because they just don't have the taste for it. They don't have the taste for it. Even though they say they fucking do, they don't. And you know what? Daniel Ricciardo's going to be caught up in all that bullshit, and he's going to walk away from Formula One. And then a couple of years later, after that, he's going to write a book and he's going to call all of these pricks out and say, Cyril people sold me a lemon. He walked me around the fucking factory at Enstone and he sold me a lemon. He said to me, Daniel, we're putting in all these facilities. We're going to be a championship winning team in 2021. We expect to win. Remember they said we expect to win races in 2020? Yep. And they said we'll be on podiums this year. Yeah. Are you fucking serious? Nope. They can't even get a point. Not one fucking point. They can't do shit. They're fucking useless. And they're in crisis, and I fucking called it. And I was glad Autosport actually put that article up. Fuck them.
Just come home and do V8s, Dan.
Yeah, Dan, I'll support you.
I'll be
as long as you're driving for the right team.
I'll be out there at Bathurst.
No, I'll be gutted. Because he was our best chance of being a Formula One champion.
Yeah, we've already got a Formula One world champion, mate.
Alan Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't... He's no fucking Daniel Ricciardo. You know what I mean? And we've got question I had for you, if you know this, I don't know if you do. Do you know any of us young Australians that are in the pipeline to go into Formula One?
Not that I've heard of.
We had Will Power at one stage, but he went off to that.
He's Indies.
He's Indies now.
He's IndyCar, and he is doing fucking well.
Yeah, Will Power is doing well in Indies.
But I've been watching a bit of F2 lately, and I haven't seen.
There's no Aussies in there. I haven't
seen any.
No.
And trying to get information about F3 or anything lower than
that. There's no candidates, is there? There's no Australian in the pipeline.
No.
So that's what I'm saying. Once we lose Daniel Ricciardo, we've got no one.
No.
We've got no one. You know, and I like watching him race. You know what I mean? So
he's a great racer.
I'll be fucking shattered. I'll be like, well, that's a guy that yet again got fucked over by Formula One, yet again, and I'll blame that prick Cyril Abitbol. I don't like him now. Fuck him. I want him gone. I want him fucking gone.
That's it. We're starting a petition.
That's it.
Go to change.org.
Change.org. All right, have we said everything we wanted to say?
We're done.
We're done?
Done.
I need to piss.
I need to piss too, badly. Jason, Relaxation, do you need to piss?
I always need to piss.
That's right. Silence!
He got the earmuff off in time.
That's right. No, he needs to do this now because this is how I always finish it. He always removes the earplugs and he turns the volume down, the little prick. We're done.
We're done.
Thank you, Rocket Russell, for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
I'm sorry we disagreed about Formula One, but I did give you wacky theories. Thank you, Jason Relaxation, for being you. Don't go changing, and thank you for being fucking silent. Thank you for the 2 people that have been listening. Thank you, Mum, for...
Well, it's only 1 because I'm here.
That's right. That means we're down to like half because Super Simon seems to have disappeared off the planet.
Super Simon pinged me just earlier.
Did he?
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he says kisses.
Shout out to Super Simon. Come back on the show, you
Hope
fuck.
you're having fun with your new kid.
Yeah, that's right. I hope you are too, you breeder. Thank you, Mum, for letting us use your basement. I'm sorry I read it about the EA Falcon. I can't help it. It's a rabbit hole I can't get out of. I was fucking shattered when Dad brought that home in 1988 and it started leaking water everywhere and it was on the back of a tow truck in the next 2
At
weeks.
least your dad's got to bring yours home.
I had a problem with the fucking transmission and it was shattering. And then I saw in 1985 a Ford Fairlane and I didn't understand why Dad didn't have one because it was fucking way better than the Ford Falcon GL. And next week, you fucking ingrates that don't want to drive Ford Fairlanes and Ford Fairmont Gears and all the other bullshit from the 80s. We'll talk about more Retronum and more bullshit. But until then, you can roll it, monkeys.